Different directions record-wise meet today. The Rams unbeaten, the Eagles looking for their first win of the year, and this is just superb football weather. Temperature at kickoff 65 degrees. Hi everybody, I'm Gary Bender along with the coach Hank Stram. And Hank, at the start of the year, Buddy Ryan said we'll win the NFC East. He still thinks they're going to make the playoffs, but the system hasn't kicked in yet. They're making too many mistakes.
They are making a lot of mistakes right now, Gary, but I think they're going to get better and better as they progress during the course of the season. And the selling point that Buddy Ryan gives to his squad is the fact that, listen, we've lost 3. We play 16 games. We could be 13-3, and that's the way they feel.
Buddy Ryan is known as the architect of the 46 defense, and that really concerns the Rams today.
It really does, because it's a great variety of aggressive surges by the defense of the Philadelphia Eagles, and they have to decide whether they're going to take the skateboard like they usually take or take the Concorde. I think they have to get up on top when they have the advantage and have the opportunity, and we have to see what they do in that situation as to how successful they'll be this afternoon.
All right, the Rams have won the toss. They have elected to receive. As you look at this, the Rams are 3-0. However, 2 of their wins over clubs who haven't won this year. The Eagles, on the other hand, have lost to 3 unbeatens, plus a 4th represented by the Rams today. And the Eagles trying to avoid their first 0-4 start since 1972. Paul McFadden will be kicking off. Back deep is Charles White, along with Ron Brown. This will be Brown. He'll bring it out. Out to the 25-yard line and drop there. Ron Brown, who had the flu prior to today, coming out of there very strongly. There is a penalty flag. We're going to have to check this one out. Brown did not even practice yesterday due to the flu. It's going to be a penalty against the Rams.
You know, Gary, I talked to Ron right on the field right before the game, and he said he lost 8 or 9 pounds since he's had the flu. He's very weak.
Here is Steve Bartkowski.
Holding number 51 on a receiving team. 10 yards. First down.
So they will not have good field position as we look now defensively at the Philadelphia Eagles. Reggie White, in the estimation of Buddy Ryan, is the best defensive lineman he's ever been around. Reichenbach, he is the Mike Singletary of this defense. And Wes Hopkins is playing on a bad knee. We'll have to watch it. He's playing at about what he thought was 75% efficiency.
Gary, when the defensive backs are off this far, they have to throw in front of the defensive backs as much as they can. There they do it right off the bat.
And they come out throwing to Bobby Duckworth, and Duckworth will advance it to the 22. 2 penalty flags going to the air. Roynell Young was over there to make the stop for Philadelphia.
Gary, again, I think the way they play defensively, you know, whenever they're off the receivers as deep as they were that time, you have to take advantage of throwing in front. And when they get up on top of you with bump and run, then you got to go up on top. You can't be afraid to throw the ball against this defense and keep them off balance.
Tackling by face mask. Ben Tripe is the referee.
43 grabbed the face mask. That's 5 yards, and that'll make it a first down.
Watch Roynell Young, 43. He's making the tackle, and he finally comes up from the backside and grabs the face mask.
And so we have a first down now at the 28-yard line. The Rams winning the toss to start this game. Here's Dickerson, and they somehow have got to slow him down, and that's a pretty good start, Hank.
Yeah, it really is, and that's why I say I don't want to belabor the point, but I'm going to keep talking about this during the course of the game. We'll find out how much confidence they have in their passing game because, again, the defensive backs at that time were way deep, and they ought to throw in front.
We mentioned Ron Brown. Brown playing with the flu. He seemingly will be okay. He's at least in the starting lineup. Up front, Dennis Hara got a scare a week ago with a knee injury, but he's come back strong wearing a brace on the knee. Second down now, 14 to go for the Rams. Dickerson and Barry Red, the running backs. Bartkowski had beautiful protection a week ago, this time in trouble, and evidently had his arm hit that time. Greg Brown, number 98, coming in from the right side defensive end spot.
Watch Brown now, number 98, makes a stunt on the inside. There you see him. He's out of the picture now. You see White, 92, putting pressure. And Steve Bartkowski has to move a little bit. And any time that you make Steve move laterally, he is not going to throw the ball nearly as well as he does going back straight in the pocket and stepping up and throwing and following through. That's the problem with Steve at this stage of his career.
The Eagles last week had 5 sacks in that losing cause to Denver. They hope to come after Bartkowski. 3rd and 14. This time it's almost picked up and in. Intercepted. That's Andre Waters. And Waters to the 21.
This time they're in the shotgun, as you can see, and he goes back into the pocket. He's looking to the right side, and then he throws inside there, and there's double coverage on the play, and number 20, Andre Waters, finally makes the interception, and they have great field position. And again, the Rams started the game last week again in Indianapolis about this same way. They fumbled last week, and now they throw an interception.
That's the third interception of the year for Waters. Gary Gray was leading the NFL at the start of the year with 3, and here comes Byers. Keith Byers, the number 1 draft pick. First and goal now at the 9. Vince Newsom made the stop for the Rams. Defensively, here's the Rams. Reggie Doss, he kind of goes unnoticed up front. He's just there every week ready to play. And now Mark Giroux is going to be calling the defensive signals in the absence of Carl Eckern, who has a groin pull. And back deep, Vince Newsom, we just mentioned his name. He is a high-velocity tackler.
Mike Haddix really threw a great block on the last play.
First and goal now, just inside the 10 for the Eagles, trying to capitalize on the turnover. Michael Haddix, the fullback, runs into people. In particular, Nolan Cromwell was there first and gets very little, if anything, on that play. The Eagles have had such a tough time running the ball. They're hoping to crank up Keith Byers, who did a very good job on his first effort. Thus far, he's only averaged 1.9 per carry. And up front, the offensive line, they're concerned about Leonard Mitchell. He comes in here with a injured knee. However, he thought he'd be able to go. He's got a heavy brace on it.
We talked to him yesterday, and he was gimping around. Looked like Chester walking around the field yesterday, but in spite of that, he's out there playing today.
Hank, he's a 295-pound Chester.
Yes, he is. You're right.
Second and goal now from the 10. Spagnola in motion, the tight end. Jaworski, and it's broken up, and on the deflection, out of bounds. Kenny Jackson almost had the touchdown reception, but he ran out of room trying to gauge the deflected pass.
Wasn't that a great effort on the part of Jackson? Great presence. Jerry Gray, number 25, was defending on the play. The ball goes up into the air. And watch Jackson react immediately, go after the ball. He certainly doesn't know where he is this time because he's watching the ball, but he just barely gets the other foot on the line, and as a result, he's out of bounds. Great action, though, on the part of Jackson.
So the Eagles now have third and goal. They've made nothing on the first 2 attempts after getting a first and goal inside the 10.
This is a great play for great field position for a draw play on the 8-yard line.
The veteran Jaworski at 35 years of age, out to Haddix. Haddix to the 5, and it's going to be 4th and goal. Mel Owens, who's played 2 of the best back-to-back games in his NFL career, was there to make the stop.
It's a high percentage play. They want to make sure they still, if they don't get the yardage, they're going to still get a chance to kick the field goal. And so they throw the ball out into the flat area to Haddix, number 26. Tries to make a move to the inside and doesn't make the yardage necessary. Newsom comes in from the side along with some other people and makes the tackle.
Rams got to be happy that they're making the Eagles settle for a field goal here. Paul McFadden will come in.
You know, the funny thing about McFadden, talking to him yesterday, his ritual is on a field goal situation, Gary, he goes in about 12 yards behind the ball because he wants to look at the goalpost, and they look very narrow from that distance. Then he walks forward 10 yards, and they look like they're a lot wider, and there's a lot shorter distance, and he feel from a mental standpoint is very effective.
Well, they were wide enough there. He hit it. There's the Rams quarterback of the future, Jim Everett, the All-American out of Purdue, the number 1 draft pick of the Oilers. They acquired him by trade. He just this week signed a 4-year contract. And John Robinson is saying to us, we're going to get him ready as fast as we can. Look at the stats he had. 23 touchdown passes. Hank, he's got such size. He's 6'5", weighs 215 pounds. The kickoff. 3-0 the Eagles. Bringing it out again is Ron Brown. Brown has a little gap out to the 40, and he'll advance just about to the 40-yard line. Coming over to make the stop was the kicker, McFadden. Oh, we mentioned Ben Dreith a little bit earlier as in charge of the crew, and of course we must mention the replay booth. Nick Skorich, the former Cleveland Brown coach, will be the official. The communicator, Joe Brown from the NFL office. And of course, we'll be talking about instant replay through the course of the day as we have a poll that will be conducted. From the 39 now, good field position. That's not what the Rams had on the first time.
And this is not what they've done so far extremely well like they did a year ago as far as their specialty teams are concerned. This is good field position. They're off to a good start in this drive.
Single running back is Eric Dickerson.
Look at over here again. See, there's so much room. Okay, good.
Here's Dickerson up the middle. He fumbled the ball. Picked up by Wes Hopkins of the Eagles, and Hopkins will be dropped. That's interesting, Hank. The Eagles told us yesterday they thought they could get the ball stripped from Eric Dickerson.
Here's a replay. See, they're playing a softer defense this time. They dumped the ball off to Eric Dickerson. He's got the ball in the left hand. Is not snug to his body. And Andre Waters knocked the ball loose. And it's recovered by Wes Hopkins, number 48. And again, the Eagles have good field position, this time on the 40.
As we said at the start of this broadcast, it's been the Eagles that have been making the mistakes. They had 11 turnovers in the first 3 games. Today, the Rams with 2 turnovers early. Kenny Jackson in motion. Jaworski to Byers. The big 233-pound rookie advances out to the 45-yard line. Vince Newsom made the stop.
Watch Spagnola, John Spagnola, number 88. Coming off the line of scrimmage, blocking down, uses his left shoulder, good position, and maintains the block very, very well that time on Doug Reed, number 93.
Going to bring up now, 2nd down, 5 yards to go. Eagles just haven't been able to run the ball effectively. Today, they've gotten off pretty well. A couple of fine runs by Byers. Spagnola in motion. Jaworski, quick flip to Quick. Quick to the 50, that'll be a first down. As he's knocked down there. Jerry Gray, second-year man out of Texas, up to make the stop. First down, Philadelphia.
That's a quick screen that time, and look at all the room they've got over here. But watch, he starts up the field, comes back, drives Gray off the line of scrimmage. But look at the help they got from the inside, and he doesn't get inside quickly enough. And as a result, Gray comes up quickly and makes the tackle. Really a terrific tackle by Jerry Gray, number 25.
That's when you have guys like Quick, you want to isolate him out there as much as you can, and he made a fine play on it.
And it's unusual that on a one-on-one situation that one guy's going to make the tackle, but Jerry Gray did.
First down now at the 49 of Los Angeles. Jaworski to Byers, and Byers moves the pile forward a little bit as he advances to the 47-yard line. Byers, as you probably know, coming back from that problem with his foot. He had to have bone grafted on his foot. He had special treatment all preseason. And there's some thought about Byers, Hank, that he still isn't completely sure that that foot is 100%.
Well, I think that really the indecision comes from the fact that he wasn't in any mini camps. He wasn't in training camp. He's only played in 2 games. So as a result, he's a kind of tentative, I think, kind of feeling his way with the system and everything. And the unusual thing about him is he's a very flat-footed runner.
Well, he has those big feet. It looks like gunboats out there. We'll talk more about that later. On his 2nd and 8, here is Haddix. Big hole. Haddix about a yard short of the first down. A big tackle by Leroy Irvin. Beautiful open field tackle that kept Haddix from picking up the first down.
That's the 2nd big run they've made to the left side or to the right side of the Ram defense. Big hole, and a good block there by Baker, Ron Baker, number 63. And also Keith Byers, number 42.
3rd down, a yard to go. Coming into this game, the Rams leading the NFL in rushing defense, allowing just over 67 yards a game. So thus far, the Eagles have done much better than the statistics would indicate. Straight ahead comes Haddix. He's got the first down across the 40 to the 39.
You know, and conversely, the Eagles have only rushed for 81 yards a game, Gary. So they're out really to do a much better job of obtaining balance today. Watch Dave Little, number 89. He comes back to the left in motion, comes back on the inside and gets a piece of DeJournay, number 70. And they're able to make enough yardage for the first down.
Buddy Ryan's team off to a successful start, leading 3-0 and trying to capitalize on the 2nd turnover of the game.
Talking to Buddy yesterday, I said, what are you going to do? He said, got to run home and mow the grass.
He won't mind mowing the grass if he wins today. Jaworski over the middle. Spagnola Boy, he loves to look to his big tight end, who last week had 4 catches, and this time comes up with another grab.
Spagnola is a very bright receiver, goes to the open area between the linebackers, and there he is. He squats right in that area. The ball is high, but he makes the catch, and is finally tackled there by Mark Giroux,
Second
the
down.
inside linebacker.
Excuse me, Hank. Second down, 2. The thing about Spagnola is that Jaworski, when in doubt, seems to always find this big tight end at 6'4", 235 pounds. Haddix comes in motion. Jaworski looking to Haddix. Nope, going to hit Spagnola again. And Spagnola has a first down catch. Vince Newsome coming up from the free safety spot to make the tackle.
Watch Spagnola again. They stretch the defense with by sending a man in motion. He goes right down the hash marks, and the ball is open between the defensive backs, and Newsome, number 22, finally made the play. But they're stretching that zone as much as they can laterally, and throwing the ball between the linebackers and the defensive backs.
Hank, I tell you, I like the Eagles' game plan. They really look like they're playing with confidence now, and as you mentioned, really causing some problems. First down now at the 15.
Look at all the room they got on the right side here with Gray.
Jaworski looking right.
There he is.
Time pass for Quick, intercepted by Newsome. Nope, he's out of bounds. Newsome was out of bounds, and that's a break for the Eagles.
That was a bad play because really the area in front of Gray was much better. He was playing deep enough. You're not going to run behind him. They ran a right and up, you see, and it gave Newsome plenty of time to come over from his safety position and make the interception. However, he was out of bounds when he made the play.
Hank, is that one of those things where Jaworski just has to get rid of the football, or should he hung on there?
Well, he was trying to throw it in the corner of the end zone, I think, that time, but it hung up there too long. Normally, a defensive back can run 20 yards once the ball is in the air, and he covered a lot of territory that time.
So the time pattern did work. Second down, 10. This one's working. Touchdown, Spagnola.
Misdirection. Watch Spagnola's line up on the left side. Number 88 comes across underneath the linebackers. Nobody gives him a shot coming off the line of scrimmage. He's wide open. The ball is right where it should be, and he goes through the seam here, lowers the shoulders, and goes into the end zone for the touchdown. A beautiful looking play. Jaworski to Spagnola.
15 yards. Spagnola's first touchdown catch of this year. You see why they put him back in the starting lineup after Dave Little started the first 3 games. McFadden adds the point after. And Philadelphia, looking for their first win, is off brilliantly, 10-0. The Eagles have Byers moving. Their offense is moving. I'll never forget 1984. Keith Byers against Illinois, 67 yards. Watch this run. And he gives to Byers. Byers has the corner. He has the first down, and look out. He threw his shoe. He's running without a shoe with a touchdown. So, shoe or no shoe, Byers is a tough adversary. Kicking off now, the Eagles. Bring it out again will be Ron Brown, and Brown gets it out very effectively again, out to the 35-yard line. We understand Spagnola suffered a jammed shoulder after making that touchdown catch, but he's expected to be back into the game. Elbert Fowles made the stop on the play for Philadelphia. And from the 33, that's where the Rams will have it. The last drive after the fumble recovery, moving 60 yards, 5:18 in time, and Jaworski with a 15-yard touchdown strike. I would imagine people back on the West Coast area a little stunned by the beginning of this game. Unbeaten Rams against the winless Eagles. Philadelphia leading at 10-0. Here is Dickerson. Giving chase from behind was Greg Brown. He'll be dropped into the vicinity of the 39. Andre Waters also up there. Dickerson getting some running room, and John Robinson finding himself down, but they were down last week, Hank, and came back.
Well, that's the thing about this team. You know, they have a lot of poise, a lot of experience, and it's early in the game, and normally they respond very well to adversity, and they keep their feet in the fire, and they come back and do a good job. That's going to be a challenge for them this afternoon, because really the fact that this team is 0-3 doesn't indicate really the kind of talent they have. They're a lot better than an 0-3 team, talking about Philadelphia.
But as we mentioned, All the teams that they've played this year haven't lost a game yet.
But they have to throw the ball when they got the corners off like they are right now. Here he is. There he is. That's a good play. Whoop.
It's a good play if you catch the ball, Coach.
Yeah, he tried to run with it before he caught it. But that's the kind of thing, if they're going to give it to you, you might as well put a mask on a quarterback. It's like stealing. Just keep throwing the ball out there. That's all you have to do. Regardless where you are, if they're out 10 yards, throw the ball out there, which they did well on that last play.
So it's going to bring up now a 3rd down and about 5 yards to go. You wonder when you're not feeling well what it does to your concentration. And Brown, of course, we mentioned, battling the flu all week long, just not hanging on there. This time they're going to go from the shotgun.
They like to run a draw from the shotgun on some occasions, but I don't think they are at this particular time because the backs are not even with the tailback.
Markowski with time, and Waters almost had another one. Andre Waters, who picked off one earlier, had he had that one, Hank, it would have been 16-0.
School would have been out, right? They'd have been ringing the bell because he would have intercepted that one. Look at, he's got time enough to throw here. Throws outside, and Andre Waters gets good jump. They disguised the coverage is what they did. It looked like man for man. Then they roll into a double on that side. He had a responsibility back behind him by the safety man, and as a result, why he could be reckless and go for the interception.
Dale Hatcher with a very fine punt, and Evan Cooper makes the fair catch inside the 20-yard line. And so the Philadelphia Eagles, who haven't won a ball game, right now in command. Eagles 10-0. Hank, they always say that you play like you practice. They felt they had their best week of practice, and look what's happened.
Yes, to a man. They all indicated they had a great week of work. But I think also the real fact here is, Gary, that they feel much better about what they're doing defensively, and they feel that all the games that they've lost, they just lost because they made a lot of mistakes. They feel they're capable of playing a lot better.
So after a 43-yard punt by Hatcher, Myers tests the left side of that offensive line and advances out across the 20 just to about the 21-yard line. And so the Eagles with a 10-0 lead, scoring on a 15-yard touchdown pass and also a 22-yard field goal by Paul McFadden will set it up at the 21. 2nd down, 8 yards to go, make it 9 to go.
Jeter is in it right in, and he really gets off the ball. He's lost some weight. He's much good than he was a year ago. And the left tackle, Gillespie, is going to have his hands full trying to block him on passing situations.
That's a very resourceful run by Haddix. Good change of direction across the 25 to the 26. Good block by Ken Reeves, number 66. It's going to bring up 3rd down, 3 yards to go for the Eagles.
Steve Busick that time, number 53, did a good job of coming in and making the tackle.
Just across the 25-yard line as now Spagnola comes out of the ball game. Ron Johnson, 85, is checked in. Have 3 wideouts on a 3rd and 3.
They got 6 defensive backs in the game right now, Gary.
To this side comes Jackson and Quick. From the shotgun, Jaworski. They pick up the blitz and then try the little draw, and it didn't fool anybody. Newsom was coming on a blitz. The offensive line picked it up, but he also ran right to the spot of the tackle. It's 4th down. Should instant replay be used in the NFL? That's our question, and that's the question we're asking in our poll. You can cast your vote by simply dialing the number listed next to the category of your choice. And there's a vote on the right-hand side thus far, and there's a charge of 50 cents per call, and we'll see how the fans are voting at halftime and also on the NFL Today post-game show. Revised right now is leading, isn't it? Hank and I'll have some thoughts about that as the game wears on. As back to punt is a man who's been struggling a little bit, Telchuk. The rookie out of Texas. Boy, he's not struggling there. Look at that punt. Mickey Sutton inside the 20. Beautiful punt. And Sutton will advance it out to the 29. There's a penalty flag. Andre Waters over there covering on the punt. So Telchuk, who last week had a 13 and a 29-yard punt, made amends there, didn't he, Coach?
Yes, he really did. We talked to him yesterday, and he said the real problem has been I've been trying so hard, I've been so tense. I'm just going to relax and kick the ball tomorrow, and he sure kicked it that last time.
56 yards, as Ben Dreith indicates.
Illegal block
of the hands.
on number 54 on the receiving team. That's 10 yards, and it's 1st down.
So the Rams will not have good field position. We're going to take a break here from Veterans Stadium. John Robinson's team down by 10. One of the keys to this game is slow down Eric Dickerson. You don't stop him very much. He's carried the ball 3 times for 17 yards. 6'3", 218, the size to go with the speed. And right now, he's lined up behind the Rams. They have the ball at the 28-yard line. Bartkowski gives to number 29. Good leg drive will take him to the 30, and the Eagles are aware of his presence. They are swarming him right now.
Well, they're keying on him. They say you got to have a head on him. Everybody has to have a head on him, and that's true. But, you know, the thing the Eagles are doing a good job of, they're changing from their 46 to a 4-3, changing coverages, disguising them very, very well. And I think it's creating somewhat of a problem for Steve Bartkowski.
Boy, what a difference a week makes, Hank. You got to realize now the Eagles have given up over 600 yards rushing in the first 3 games. And today, it hasn't been easy on any of the carries for the Los Angeles Rams. 10-0 Philadelphia.
See, now they're in a 46. See, they changed to the 46.
2nd and 7. Bartkowski and intended for Barry Redden. There's a penalty flag at the line of scrimmage. Barry Redden, who leads his team a number of catches, that time could not make the connection, but the penalty is going to go against the Los Angeles Rams. Holding.
Usually when they drop it in that area, it's holding, and that's exactly what it is.
Shows you again, Coach, statistics really don't mean an awful lot when you look at the way this game has been played.
Illegal
today.
use of the hands on number 56 on the offense. That's 10 yards.
87.
2nd down.
I think the other thing is very obvious. I think the Rams like to come out of the chute running the football. That's what they do best. And right now, they're a little bit off the pace a little bit. They're throwing the ball, and they don't look nearly as smooth as they normally look in this situation.
From the 21 now. 2nd down, 17. Doug Smith was the guy guilty of holding on that last play. Here's Dickerson again, and again the Eagles are there. And this crowd, which was a little hostile last week on the home debut, has really come back to get into this one. Greg Brown made the stop. This is Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia, the home of the Eagles. Game 4 in this 86 season. And right now, surprise developing. The Philadelphia Eagles leading the Rams 10-0, jumping on them early as we now have 48 seconds left in this first quarter. I'm Gary Bender along with Hank Stram. As now it comes to a 3rd down and still 5 yards to go for the first down. Check that. 13 yards to go for the first down. Bartkowski. Little pressure. Gets it off. Tight end Tony Hunter, but he is downed immediately. They still have 10 yards to go for the first down, and it's 4th down. It seems as though, Hank, the Eagles are ready for anything they can throw at them.
Yeah, they play man for man that time, and they had everybody faded in good shape. And, of course, you throw underneath. No chance at all to make the necessary yardage for the first down on that kind of a play. And as a result, Bernard Wilson was man for man and made the tackle.
Here's Hatcher, another beautiful punt. Back is Cooper at the 22. Nice spinning move, and the Michigan 3rd-year player brings it out to the 34-yard line. However, there's another penalty flag clear at the other end of the field.
Kenny Jackson, number 81, really made a great block downfield on that attempted return.
Another penalty against the Rams, who are having a very difficult time getting untracked in the early going. We have come to the end of the first quarter, but let's sort this one out first. Ben Dry talking to John Spagnola whether they want the football or to take the penalty.
They have good field position. They have the ball, and a lot of times that determines whether you're going to turn down the penalty or accept
Number
it.
90 on the kicking team was down the field illegally.
I would think they decline it.
The penalty and take the football.
That's Mike McDonald, who snaps on the punts, who got down there prematurely. We've come to the end of the first quarter. Buddy Ryan's team with a 10-0 lead.
For great taste, there's only one light beer.
Mobil 1 synthetic motor oil. Mobil 1 protects your engine better than any conventional motor oil. And by the heartbeat of America, today's Chevrolet.
2 turnovers by the Rams have led to 10 points in this football game. McFadden capitalizing on the first from 22 yards out, and Spagnuolo with a 15-yard touchdown catch from Ron Jaworski as we begin the second quarter. First down now for the Eagles. Mike Wilcher, Steve Busick. That's Busick who's starting now because Carl Eckern hasn't been able to come back from the groin pull. Giroux has taken over the defensive signals, and Busick, who was a starter, the leading tackler the last 2 years for the Denver Broncos, has been thrown in there. They were concerned about the fact, Hank, he'd only been in 2 live plays prior to today.
But he's a good player, and I think the fact that he played so much for Denver is going to make this team a much better defensive team as they go along during the course of the season.
Second down and 8. Jaworski. Kenny Jackson dropped it. Jackson, who was brilliant last week with 5 catches for 127 yards, just couldn't hang on to this one.
I don't know whether Jackson got his head around fast enough on the play. Let's take a look here now. He's just running it down, forcing the defensive back to the outside. Now he got the head around good shape. It's a bad angle. He was going away from the ball instead of coming back for it a little bit. He just missed the ball. He should have made the catch.
Yep, that was catchable. Jackson was not the starter the first 3 weeks due to the fact that he wasn't running his routes very well. So on a third down, we'll expect to see this a lot. Randall Cunningham coming in at quarterback. Anything more than 3rd and 7. This is 3rd and 9. Flag on the play as he releases the ball to Ron Johnson. Johnson made the catch, but let's see what the penalty's all about.
You know, a lot of people have scoffed at this system whereby he goes in on 3rd and long, but I think it's a great idea because he has great scrambling ability, has escapability skill, and as a result he puts a lot of pressure on the defense, and all you have to do is talk to the defensive coordinators about the plan, and they all think it's very, very effective and puts a lot of pressure on him.
Well, John Robinson
Holding offense number 77. That's 10 yards, and it's 3rd down.
On a snap.
That's Tom Gillespie.
Tom Gillespie, number 77, trying to block Jeter. There you see him. He's got him in the vise. There you see him holding as he tries to go by. And that's why they call the penalty on Tom Gillespie, number 77. Played his collegiate football at Purdue University.
So it's 3rd and 18 yards to go. I started to say, John Robinson said Cunningham is scary. Because when he comes in there, you've got to be aware of what he can do. This time, Johnson again. And that's very close to the first down. No, he did not catch it. The official indicating the ball skipped. Hit the turf. As an end result, Johnson will not be given the reception. So it's going to be 4th and 18. Now, wait a minute. Yep, they're ruling the ball did hit. One of the officials went running up to indicate the point where the ball made contact with the field. But Cunningham, to get back to bringing him in on those 3rd down and longs, Hank, what does that do to a guy like Jaworski? Does that hurt his rhythm? Does that take him out of the game a little bit?
The way they've been pass blocking, when he goes over the sideline, he comes off with a big smile. But he doesn't have to worry about getting those shots on 3rd and long. So he's very, very happy about it, I'm sure. He'd like to be in there, of course, but I think they are doing what they think is best with the ability of their team, and I think it's a great move.
Telchik, you see what he had the last time, a 47-yarder. This time he did not hit it as well. He's going to get somewhat of a roll. Mickey Sutton at the 35. He'll be down there. Another penalty flag. Boy, we cannot punt a ball today without having a penalty flag.
You know, I talked to Mickey Sutton on the field before the game, and he was catching punts, and he said, you know, the problem with catching punts before the game without my pads, I have a tendency to catch the ball against my body, and then I know when I put the pads on, I can't do that because I'll hit the pad and bounce out. So I have to really remind myself all the time to make sure that I catch the ball in my hands, with my hands all the time.
It's going to come back. Penalty against the Rams. You were mentioning.
Offense had an illegal formation. They're going to take the 5-yard penalty. Kick it over.
Let me ask you something, Hank. You used to also feel that if you didn't have pads on, you shouldn't be doing some things just in warming up because sometimes guys go diving after a ball and hurt their shoulder.
Yes, we always had a rule, you know, on days when we practice in shorts and without pads. We didn't do it very often, but we had a rule that We did not want anybody to dive for a ball or have any kind of collision, the defensive back and and a receiver, because there was always a chance for injury. Let him catch the ball. You were at the right spot, at the right place, but don't make the mistake of trying to do something that you shouldn't do without the shoulder pads, because it could prove to be a big problem from an injury standpoint.
Penalty against the Eagles. High snap, but Telchik's there. Mickey Sutton will come up. He's going to field this in about 3 yards further up the field than he did the other end, but he's going to give the Rams much better field position. Instead of his own 35, he takes it to the Eagles' 45-yard line. So taking the penalty was a good move. Alonzo Johnson made the stop. The Rams still looking to get on the scoreboard. From the 45-yard line, the Rams have the football after that punt, trailing 10-0. 13:27 left in the second quarter of play.
See, now they're in a 46.
Buddy Ryan, development of the 46 defense. Bartkowski on target, but a collision, and Ron Brown can't hang on. Excellent coverage by Evan Cooper. That ball was beautifully thrown, but very tight coverage.
Yeah, right where it had to be, and it looked like it should have been caught. And again, you know, going into the game, the Rams like to run the ball 40 times approximately and throw it 20 to 25 times. They still have to maintain that same run personality and do it successfully, but when they throw the ball, they have to make good plays, good intelligent reads, take advantage of coverages, and make big plays with the passing game within the framework of those 20 or 25 passes. So far, they haven't done it.
Rams only had the ball 4 minutes and 40 seconds in that first quarter. Here is Dickerson on the second down 10. He's inside the 40 to the 39. It'll bring up third down. Let's go to New York. Here's Brent Musburger.
Well, Gary, the Chicago Bears are a different team with Jim McMahon back at quarterback. Jim has thrown 2 touchdown passes and run for a third. This is the 53-yarder to Willie Gault, and the Bears are routing the Bengals 21-0 in the second. Back to Gary Bender.
Well, Hank, Jim McMahon does make a difference, doesn't he?
He sure does. He sure does.
Third down now, 4 yards to go for the Rams, just inside the Eagle 40-yard line.
Well, they got a lot of room on that left side, 1-for-1 coverage.
Bartkowski from the shotgun. Pumps off the rush. Intended for Brown, and a beautiful play by Ronell Young. Ronell Young with the interception.
What a play here. Now watch Bartkowski looking to his left. He waited a little bit too long. He had one-on-one coverage over there. He's flushed out of the pocket. They missed the tackle. He tries to throw the ball on the run. The ball is hanging up there a long time. And finally, Ronell Young, number 43, makes the interception. And now the Eagles have possession, 1st and 10.
3 turnovers now by the Rams. 1 fumble, 2 interceptions. As you can see, Young, the #1 draft pick in 1980 for the Eagles, coming up with his first of the year. Young has been plagued by injuries the last 2 years, but he's been playing extremely well, as evidenced by that play. From the 20 now, Philadelphia with the lead and the football. Magnolia in motion. Jackson can't hang on. And Jaworski took a pretty good pop on that play. Doug Reed came barreling through, and Ron, it's okay, but Reed made him realize he was in the vicinity. Next Saturday, college football on CBS. For those of you on the West Coast, we'll see Arizona State at UCLA. The Sun Devils tying Washington State last night. That's 11:30 Pacific time. And those of you in Pennsylvania will see Iowa take on Michigan State, and Heisman Trophy candidate Lorenzo White, who became the Spartans' all-time rushing leader, as yesterday he had 192 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Interesting to watch Jeter now on Gillespie. 77 against 77, right against left tackle. A draw play this time.
The draw will advance it out to the 25-yard line. It's going to bring up third down, 5 yards to go. Getting up very slowly on that play was Ron Baker, that offensive guard spot for the Eagles. Haddix has really come on, and Buddy Ryan said he's playing 100% better. The thing that he really likes about Haddix is the way he's been blocking. And when you put Haddix and Byers in the same backfield, that's a load.
Well, it's a load because Haddix is 6'2" and 225, and of course Byers is 6'1" and 230. So you got a couple of heavyweights back there, and they do a good job of helping each other from a blocking standpoint, as you mentioned.
3rd down 5, penalty flag. Boy, we've had a lot of penalties. Jaworski trying to hit quick, but there was just nothing developing on that play.
Looked like Sean Miller that time was offside on the play, number 98.
It was a 3rd and 5 before that snap of the ball.
Defense was offside. That's going to be 5 yards, and it's also be a first down.
First down.
Well, Hank, you caught that one. Sean Miller, the guy they call Dirt, who wears the ponytail out there. That time, Dirt was offside. There he goes. He's going to go over, and I'm sure somebody will mention that he was offside.
Unusual thing about the Rams so far, they don't make that many mistakes, and that's why they win like they win. Today, so far in the game, they've made a lot of mistakes, and that's why they're trailing like they are at this stage of the game, 10-0.
Their 3rd road trip in 4 games thus far. Last year, they defeated the Eagles here in Veterans Stadium. Jaworski, pressure. Wilshire's got him, but he got it off to Haddix. And Haddix trying to get to the first down area won't. Boy, Jaworski really took a shot from Mike Wilshire. Steve Busick eventually made the tackle on Haddix.
I think Wilshire, he's great in space. Talking about space, meaning that there's nobody on top of him. If you don't put a tight end or a back on him, he is murder. Got great penetration, made the sack that time, number 54. I think when you play against Wilshire, you better use left formations a lot to have the tight end on his side, because he's murder when he's in space.
Came from North Carolina, the same school that produced Lawrence Taylor, and he has some of the same assets that Taylor has. Great blitzer. Haddix, and now Kyle Latasi is coming to the backfield. Jaworski's pass deflected. On a 2nd down and 5, Jaworski trying to go over the middle.
Reggie Doss that time, number 71, got a piece of the ball. You know, the great thing about the Rams, I touched on it last week, but, you know, regardless what the situation is with the Rams, they're never going to panic. They're going to, you know, play their kind of football, and they say, fine, here we are. You know where we're going to be. You just try to lick us, and they think you're going to make more mistakes than they make, and that's how they're going to win the game. But so far, they've made more mistakes than the Eagles.
They've made 3 to be exact. They're just a beautifully coordinated defense. 3rd down and 4 yards to go now for Philadelphia. 10-0. The Eagles in the lead. Jaworski's got time, and he tries to hit Jackson. Jackson late making his break. Leroy Irvin defending on the play.
All right, here we see Quick coming off the ball, getting jammed by Gray. Finally breaks to the outside. The ball is thrown way on top. It falls incomplete.
I thought they were throwing to Jackson. They were both in that same area.
Yeah,
Hank.
they really were. You're right.
It was actually Quick, I guess, was the intended receiver, but Jackson looked like he was closer to it. Kelchik now to punt to this man, Sutton, former USFL player. Kelchik hits it very well. Inside the 20 is Sutton. And he's going to get out to the 30-yard line. Over there is Alonzo Johnson, the rookie out of the University of Florida, to make the stop. 47-yard punt by Kelchik. The Eagles right now continue to lead. Philadelphia 10-0 lead. Hank, one thing that was interesting this week in the Philadelphia camp, both the offense and defense called their own caucus this week away from Coach Buddy Ryan, trying to get the ball club come back.
Yeah, I think meetings are great, but I'd rather have them have the meeting before they go 0-3.
That's better than going 0-4 without one. Right?
That's right.
Okay. To the 35 come the Rams. Barry Redden carrying the football. We have 10-17 left to go in this first half. The Eagles with a 10-0 lead, scoring all 10 of their points in the first quarter. There he is, 52-year-old Buddy Ryan. And he has that double-barrel tongue. He's not afraid to say what he believes, and maybe today people are starting to believe what he says.
Well, I think the other great thing about him is, you know, he has a philosophy, and he's strong enough to exercise the philosophy. He doesn't care what anybody thinks about it. He's going to do it his way, and you like that.
Dickerson still having a tough time running with the ball. There's another penalty flag as he tries to hit off the right-hand side. Dickerson had 193 yards in game 1. Last week, 121. Coming in, he needs only 640 yards to become the all-time leading rusher for the Rams. But today he's had to work for every yard he's gotten.
Yeah, he's had to do it the old-fashioned way today. He has to earn it. And I think I think that one thing is very evident. I think somewhere along the line soon,
Number 60, going back 10, and it's second down.
they have to run some kind of a misdirection play because the Eagles are chasing like crazy, and they have to get them off balance a little bit with something that starts one way and goes back the other. Maybe a reverse, something, but I think they have to slow down that pursuit.
They got to cut down the turnovers. They have 3. That holding call was on Dennis Hara. Makes it 2nd and 16. Murkowski to Dickerson, and Dickerson's going nowhere. That's Greg Brown, number 98. Brown, an excellent pass rusher, that time playing the rush very effectively. The 6th-year man out of Kansas State. His 40th straight start for the Eagles today.
You know, talking about Buddy Ryan, we talked about, made a parallel. I said last year with the Bears, you played the Rams, and you shut down Eric Dickerson, and of course you won the game handily. And he said, well, that's here again. We have different people here, but we think we've got a great defensive line, and we feel if we can slow them down, we can win the game.
First 3 games this year, one individual has rushed for 100 yards against the Eagles. Dickerson is wanting to be the 4th. We'll see what will develop. On a 3rd down, little toss forward. That's not going to get it done. Dickerson is dropped by Bernard Wilson, and they're going to have to punt the football.
You know, the other thing, anytime they're in a spread formation, Gary, watching that, I was going to mention before the ball was snapped, and anytime Dickerson is even with a quarterback, he's going to run the ball from spread formation, from the shotgun. If he's ahead of the quarterback, it's going to be a pass, and that time it looked like they read it perfectly because he was even with Bartkowski, and they gave him a draw.
Low snap to Hatcher. Coming up is Cooper. He's got it at the 35. He's got a block, and to the 40. Nice spinning move to the 44. This crowd is into the game. The Eagles are into the game. They have a 10-0 lead. 8:09 to go in the first half. Philadelphia scoring all their 10 points in the first quarter. The 8:09 mark now. They'll have the football just short of the 45-yard line. Look at this. Mike Quick is tied with 5 other guys for the longest pass reception in NFL history. We're going to pick up that play. This won a game in overtime.
The worst possible field position inside the 1-yard line. Jaworski retreats. He's looking. He fires the football. Completes it quick. He's going to go. 25-40, 35-40, midfield, 45-40, 35-40. Mike Quick, touchdown. The Eagles win. Jaworski the quick, 99 yards. The longest pass play in Eagles history.
And there he is, one of the elite receivers. 1 catch thus far today.
He looked like Will Chamberlain from a waist down on that run, didn't he?
It's fun to run when you're open like that.
Talk about long legs.
First down now, Jaworski. Thus far, 6 of 12. There's a pass by Byers. Quick. How about this? Touchdown.
We saw him do this in practice yesterday. He threw it the same way, end over end, but it got there. Look at it. He's out here all by himself. Stops and throws the ball like a hand grenade. Pulled the pin. Got it to Quick, right on the numbers, and it's all over. He walks the dog right into the end zone.
I tell you, it doesn't matter how the pass looks if it gets there. Byers threw one at Ohio State. He completed it. And you're right, Hank. I think this one even looked worse than the one he threw in practice, but it got there, and that's all that matters.
Well, the great thing about that kind of a pass, you can catch it either end, see? Here it is again. Goes back in the pocket, throws the ball out to Keith Byers. He stops, throws the ball behind to Quick, who is behind a defensive back. Newsome is in hot pursuit, but it's all over. School is out. Here's another look at it. Watch Wilshire. Now he gets caught on the inside. You see blitzing with a tight end in his side. That makes a big difference. He throws the ball over the top. Newsome is in hot pursuit. But it's all over.
Hank, what's interesting, I doubt very many people knew that Byers was left-handed, so you would expect maybe that option to go the other way. And so they really caught him deep and quick 55-yard touchdown catch.
Well, that's what Keith said yesterday. He smiled and he said, you know, not many people know that I throw left-handed, or not many people know that I throw, period.
I tell you what, they know it now, Coach.
That's right.
You don't think that film's not going to be shown around the league?
Yep.
How about this? 17-0 now in favor of the Eagles. Short kickoff. It'll be taken by the short man Rob Carpenter, the former Giant, and he'll bring it to the 24-yard line. You know, if you look at the score, you'd say which team is unbeaten and which team lost their first three. Right now, it's all Philadelphia. Their total yardage also a dominating factor, as well as on the scoreboard. After losing to Chicago, Hank, in overtime, I'm sure that hurt their cause last week against Denver. That had to take something out of them. But they've really bounced back here today.
Well, I tell you, the amazing thing about it was, you know, being here like we were since Friday, the attitude of the team has been excellent. You know, you never would dream they had lost 3 games by the way they practiced and the way they talked about their football team and the future of this team.
Said they had to quit making the mistakes they have. The Rams have not. They've committed 3 turnovers. There's the pass as they try to build a comeback. Completed to Bobby Duckworth. Excellent catch. It'll be a first down across the 35. Next Sunday on CBS, an NFL doubleheader. It all starts with the NFL today at 9:30 Pacific time, 12:30 Eastern. For those of you now on the West Coast, you're going to see Game 1, Minnesota-Chicago, while those of you in Pennsylvania will see the Eagles take on the surprising Atlanta Falcons. Then in Game 2, you'll see either the Buccaneers take on the Rams or Dallas at Denver.
See here again, look at that left side. If they give it to you like that, you ought to keep doing business over there. You see, let's see if now they're coming over here to the right side.
Dickerson, nice cut inside, comes back out across the 40 to the 41. Tom Newberry, the rookie out of Wisconsin Lacrosse, made a good stop. Wes Hopkins has been re-injured now for Philadelphia. We'll check that out.
You can see as soon as he made the play, watch Hopkins comes into the picture, 48. Watch it come over here. He doesn't get a good tackle, but knocks him down. And as he rolls, there he is. Now look at see the way he starts to fall. You could tell he looked like he re-injured that knee.
His left knee, they're afraid it was going to become a chronic problem, and the guy who can play that position as well as anybody in the NFL now is being helped to the bench.
Found out a long time ago, you're a lot better off to play with healthy players than somebody has some bad nicks.
Good point. 2nd and 6, that one deflected. It was his decision, however, Hank, as to whether he'd play or not.
Yeah, but sometimes, you know, you got to make that decision for him because the kid is a great competitor and he wants to play, but you got to realize that, you know, I've been on so many teams where you fool yourself and you live in hope and die in despair for somebody who thinks he should be playing. He's got an injury, and you find out after the game he didn't really play like he should play, and you lost the game.
You don't want anybody dying in despair. 3rd down 6 now from the 40. Thus far, the Rams are 0 for 5 on 3rd down conversions. Nothing going very well for Los Angeles at this stage. They trail 17-0. Markowski from the shotgun. He gets it off, and Dickerson just can't hang on. Dickerson last week caught 4 passes, and they want to get the ball to him upfield. They want to get him involved in the passing game. And so, with 6 minutes and 56 seconds to go before the end of this first half, this crowd in Veterans Stadium is ecstatic as the winless Eagles leading it 17-0. I'm Gary Bender along with Hank Stram as the Rams have to get rid of the football. Hatcher didn't get into that one very well, but may get a roll. The Rams' Norwood Band will down the ball at the 27-yard line. We mentioned Hopkins. Let's check him out. He hurt that knee, continuing to try to come back. He told us, Hank, he thought he was at about 75% efficiency. And that was on Friday, and I don't think a day would make that much difference.
No, I don't think it jumped up 25% in one day. And very frankly, I was very surprised that he was going to play, that he played today.
Terry Hogue, who they picked up from the Saints this year, will fill in for Hopkins when they get back on defense. That was only a 30-yard punt that time by Hatcher. So the Eagles have good field position at the 29.
For the Rams to get back into the game the way they're playing offensively, they've got to make something happen, make a big play on defense and their specialty teams, but they're struggling offensively.
Myers in motion. Jaworski looks him up, comes back to Jackson. Beautiful job by Jaworski, Hank, looking the coverage up and then coming up the middle for the first down toss.
See the great thing about Jackson is the fact that now Jackson is catching some balls. It takes a lot of pressure off of Quick. Look at, he's looking to throw the ball outside to the right to the Quick, but then he comes back inside and throws the ball to Kenny Jackson, who makes the catch. But again, spraying the ball around to a variety of receivers puts an awful lot of pressure on the defense.
24 yards on that play. Jackson said when they demoted me, it made me hungrier. I decided I want to get back in that starting lineup.
That looks like they took care of that pretty good shade. He ate about 3 donuts yesterday.
You ate the rest of them.
That's right.
Here comes Byers trying to get wide. He gets away from Meisner. Boy, that's the Byers I remember, Hank. Giving that leg, take it away. Jerry Gray eventually knocked him out of bounds. And boy, if this guy ever gets it all back together, he can be a franchise player.
Well, he's going to be a franchise player. I don't think there's any question about that if he stays healthy. And the other thing that's going to help him be a franchise player is the fact that Mike Haddix at time 26 threw another great block. And if he continues to block like that for him, he's going to make a lot of real estate.
Make you a franchise player when guys are knocking those other guys down, huh?
Never any mystery. You don't do it with mirrors or magic. You got to block and tackle, and that's what they're doing real well right now.
Jaworski's doing well, too. Look at that, 7 of 13. Second down now, 3 yards to go. Protection is there, and over the middle it comes. This is Haddix, the fullback, coming out of the backfield, and that'll be another first down. Steve Busick, 53, up to make the stop. And Jaworski right now, seemingly everything he's trying is working. As you mentioned, he's spreading it around so effectively.
Well, the great thing about it is the fact that, really he's getting very good protection. He doesn't have to get out of the pocket. He's hanging in there tough, and I think if you give him time to throw, why, they don't call him the Polish rifle for nothing. He can zip it.
What I was very impressed with, Hank, is his leadership during practice all week long. He was the holler guy. He was the guy that kept saying, we've got to make a commitment to learn the system of Buddy Ryan.
Well, I think he makes it happen, and you have to have that kind of leadership on a good football team.
First down from the 32. Here's Haddix. Haddix will get to about the 31-yard line. Well, we mentioned this poll we're having today regarding instant replay. The questions we're asking on our CBS Sports poll is that you can cast your vote now, and there are the 3 options, and you should dial the number listed next to the category of your choice. Charge of 50 cents per call, and we'll be looking at the results at halftime as well as the NFL Today post-game show. And look at this, 32% yes in favor of it, 44% for revised form, and 24% said get rid of it. Second down now, 9 yards to go. Jaworski on a time pattern, and that's quick, but he's out of bounds. You could see he just wasn't going to have the room that time. Nice effort, though, by Quick. Shows you his acrobatic ability. There is a penalty flag, however.
You can't cover a guy any better than this. Watch Quick come off the ball. Watch Gray try to knock him out of bounds. You see, but he's right with him, and he finally turns back to look for the ball at the appropriate time. Quick jumps right over the top and sucks the ball up like he's got a vacuum sweeper in his hand and goes in for the touchdown, but again, he's out of bounds.
Let's see what the penalty's all about.
That's an incomplete pass. The receiver went out of bounds, come back in and caught the ball. Incomplete.
I think you said it very well, though, Hank. Gray covered it so well. We're going to look at it again.
Yeah, here again, you can't cover any better than this, Gray. Now, see, when he starts to turn back and look for the ball, so does Gray. But the leaping ability of Quick is so outstanding that he jumped up over the top of the shoulders and made the catch. But he's out of bounds. See, I was so busy looking at his hand. He's definitely out of bounds. And as the official said, you cannot go out of bounds, come back in and catch the ball if you're an illegal receiver.
3rd and 10, and that means Randall Cunningham has come in at quarterback. The 3rd and long-distance quarterback.
You need a lasso for this kid once he starts running around back there.
6'4" out of Nevada, Las Vegas.
There he goes.
There he takes off.
There he goes.
And he's going to be very close. He dives. That may be it. There's a penalty flag. He may have gotten the first down. You think he doesn't have some athletic ability? It looks like Greg Louganis on this one.
See, that's the thing about him. You put good pressure on the outside, and then, see, he steps up into the pocket. He fakes like he's going to throw the ball, and then all of a sudden he tucks it away while the defensive end is up in the air. And there he goes, scampering down the sideline. Watch him come off the springboard and over the top. He looks like he jumped off a trampoline on that play.
What would you give him on that dive?
10.
However, it's going to come back, Hank. We've got a penalty against Philadelphia. But again, that shows you what Cunningham does. That scrambling ability, you've got to be awfully nervous if you're the Rams.
Yeah, and again, I think you have to give Buddy Ryan a lot of credit for coming up with the idea. I don't think I've ever seen many people do that, but it's a great thought because, again, you want to utilize the ability and skill of the
There
people
was
you
an
have
illegal
available.
block on number 26 on the offense. We go 10 yards from where the flag was, back 10, and it's still 3rd down.
I think Ben's upset about it. Michael Haddix, the guilty party. Let's see if we can pick it up.
Bottom of the screen, watch him on 20. Watch it here on Johnny Johnson. Illegal block from the backside. You cannot block from the backside, and that's what he did, and that's what they call the illegal block.
Boy, it's too bad because that negates an unbelievable effort by Cunningham, but he'll stay in the football game.
Not only negates it, it takes it away, doesn't it?
3rd down now, 9 yards to go. 4:12 left in the first half. 17-0 Philadelphia. Cunningham's going to take off again.
There he goes again.
And he's very close. Did he get the first down? What an effort.
He reached out there with the ball, and I think he might have gotten a lot closer or maybe even made the first down.
They're going to measure, Hank. They're going to bring the sticks in. When you're 6'4", it helps in a situation like that.
And you got a 40-inch reach.
Now they're indicating it was a first down. They don't need the measurement. Hank, are you surprised there haven't been teams do this more often? Bring in a quarterback on 3rd and long?
Well, I don't think there's many people who have the running ability of Cunningham. I think if somebody maybe had that kind of skill and ability, they maybe would have taken advantage of it. But regardless, I think Buddy Ryan came up with a great thought.
You know, a guy could do that if he's Steve Young, maybe of Tampa Bay.
Sure. Yeah, no question.
From the 22-yard line, 1st down, Philadelphia.
Look at that right side. Look at the right side.
Jaworski waiting for Quick to clear. There he is. Can't hang on. Boy, you could see that developing all the way. They just couldn't quite get it hooked up.
But the great thing about it was, you see, it was a one-on-one on that side. They rotated the defense the other side. Look at all the room Quick has. See, look at all the room he has on Gray. He makes an outside-inside move. He pops behind him, and he almost makes the catch. Look at this. Looked like the center fielder out there. Looks like Willie Mays.
I tell you what, Jerry Gray got turned around about 3 times. I don't think he ever did find Quick on this one. After the fine coverage earlier, Quick had him turned inside out on that one.
The corner, when he covering against Quick, he doesn't need ligaments. He needs ball bearings in those knees.
Head on a swivel, right? 2nd down now, 10 from the 22. The Eagles are really creating some excitement on this drive.
There's a blitz.
And he got it off to Haddix. And Haddix will get to about the 20. Newsom coming up and stopping him at the 20, or it's going to bring up still 8 yards to go for the first down.
That's the problem with a play like that for a guy like Haddix. He catches the ball well, and he's a straight line runner. And even though he has a one-on-one situation in the open field, he can't get away from that one guy.
But the veteran Jaworski read the blitz very well, and now Cunningham will come in on a 3rd down and 9. You see the time remaining in the first half. A shocker here. The Eagles leading 17-0 and trying to build on that lead. 3rd down, 8.
They got a lot of room on that right side again.
Here comes the blitz. Jeter and Cunningham this time is going to be dropped for a loss back at the 24. Gary Jeter came flying through. Then Kevin Green, 91, put the finishing touches on. Coming up at halftime on the NFL Today, Brent, Irv, and Will have scores and highlights, and also Ann Butler reports on the remarkable story of William Andrews, his 2-year road to recovery. Also an update on the instant replay poll. William Andrews, boy, I'm glad to see him back, aren't you, Hank?
Oh, I really am. And of course, you know, he's such a delightful guy and such a team-oriented guy. He doesn't care. He just loves to play. And he, you know, talking to him in Tampa in a preseason game this year, he was so excited. It was the first game he was going to start and play, and he was like a kid with a new toy. And he just was so excited about just having the opportunity to do what he loves to do and just to play. And he's been doing great.
Well, I tell you, the Falcons have been doing great. Riggs, Andrews, we're going to have the 2-minute warning. It'll be a 41-yard field goal attempt by McFadden when we come back. McFadden will attempt a 41-yard field goal. He began the scoring in this game with a 22-yard field goal, and then Spagnuolo on a 15-yard touchdown catch, and then Quick on a 55-yard strike from Byers. And McFadden 2 of 2 for the year, looking for his 3rd straight.
And McFadden looks like he ought to have a candle in his hand. It looks like an older boy. You know, the other thing about him is, you know, he has total confidence in Jaworski. He said, I just listened to Jaworski, and he tells me right middle, left middle, middle, right upright, left right upright, and that's where I kick the ball.
And then he says, hit it. And here's McFadden putting it up and through. McFadden was dumped on that play after kicking the field goal. He now is perfect for the year. 3 of 3, and it's a 20-0 game. Let's look at this again.
You know, the great thing about McFadden is the fact that he gets a very good rotation on the ball, and as a result, it goes very straight. A lot of soccer-style kickers kick a kind of a spiral rotation, and in that situation, they kind of veer off right or left. He kicks it straight through like a straight-ahead kicker.
Boy, he's not very big, Hank. He weighs 163 pounds. They list him at 5'11". I question he's even that large. But he's 3 of 3. He's hit, coming into this year, 55 of 67 field goals, and he was a 12th-round draft pick. You talk about a steal.
And the amazing thing about it was that he used to kick with a shoe on, and then he watched Tony Franklin with the Eagles kick with barefoot, and he decided to do the same thing. He came to the camp, and they played the traveling music for Franklin because he's now kicking for New England, and he took his job right here. Now he's kicking barefoot.
How does that traveling music go? Can you hum a few bars for me?
Well, I will a little later. I need some good music.
20-0, Philadelphia. Again, it's a little bit short. Ron Brown looking for the alley, and he'll get across the 30 to the 31-yard line. Well, Bartkowski last week had a very effective performance against Indianapolis. Today, with some pressure, not throwing all that well. This team was last in passing. Bartkowski gave them the balance they wanted a week ago against the Indianapolis Colts. But now in a big catch-up posture.
He isn't throwing the ball like a frozen rope like he normally does today. Normally, he's got a lot of zip on the ball. RPMs are very high. Today, he's not throwing that way, and I think maybe there's a little confusion as far as coverage is concerned. And sometimes when he has to move and throw the ball, he doesn't throw with the same velocity.
And then you add the fact that he's thrown a couple of interceptions, and the Eagles are leading at 20-0.
See, now they're in the 46 with tight coverage. Wind up with an 8-man front. Now they're dropping back.
Bartkowski stays in there. He's hit from behind, gets it off to Dickerson, and that only got a couple of yards. Albert Foles over to make the stop again. Though they have pretty good pressure from that backside.
You're right. And again, you know, the other thing is if you can make Dickerson a receiver in the game rather than a runner, hey, that's great, because you want him to try to catch the ball instead of running the football. He said, great.
That's a good point. Bartkowski back now on 2nd down, way short. Penalty flag on the play. That ball was way short, but Bartkowski did not have a lot of time to get rid of it. He is a pure passer. He has the size to look over that defensive line. 6'4", 218. There'll be a holding call.
Reggie White was held that time by Doug Smith, I think.
But Bartkowski, 11 years playing for the
Offensive
Atlanta
holding,
Falcons.
number 56. We're going back 10, and it's still 2nd down.
So we're going to back up 10, and we now have 1:22 left in this first half.
See, the thing that's happening here really is you're seeing a team that's deviated totally from their personality, and they don't look like the same club because they haven't done what they normally do well, and that's run the football.
Look at that. Dickerson with 20 yards. They said they had to slow him down. They've done more than that. Virtually putting him in a standstill position.
Well, that's a great thing about a great back like him. You say you can slow him down a little bit, and all of a sudden he makes a big play.
Bartkowski comes out running, and he threw the ball. I don't think he got past the line of scrimmage. Intended for Michael Young.
He's beyond the line of scrimmage.
I thought he was, and Bartkowski may be hurt, Hank.
Boy, that's a tough break. He's such a great competitor. With those knees the way they are, he should never run.
Never is exactly right.
Never run. He should just slide and do the best he can, because any kind of a shot on those knees could be disastrous.
He's had 5 knee operations. Doesn't even have cartilage in one of the knees. Let's see where we can pick it up.
So he got pressure from the outside. And he starts to run up the middle where there's running room. Goes beyond the line of scrimmage. And after, he got hit. That's what,
man.
Boy, that was a tough,
that was Waters.
Andre Waters is exactly right. That's a terrible hit.
Oh.
That is a terrible hit.
Oh. The flag, however, now on the play, at the 30, they're going to have to take him off the field. Oh, man, Hank, you know.
That's a shame.
It is a shame. Boy, this guy has been under the knife so many times.
Watch Waters hit him low, right at the knees with a shoulder pad. A good hit. A good hit. Nothing wrong with a hit, except that it's a bad hit for the quarterback, Steve Bartkowski. That's a shame.
Well, you know, he was extended so funny, too. He was throwing the ball. His knee was locked a little bit when he was hit by Waters. Dills is the quarterback, and I want to tell you something. After Dills, they'd have to go to Nolan Cromwell. He's their emergency quarterback in this situation. Steve did play a lot in the preseason. In fact, he started the final preseason game.
The line through illegal forward pass. We're going back 5, and they lose it down, so it's 3rd down.
Boy, that's adding insult to injury. You lose your quarterback, you get a penalty, and things aren't going well for Los Angeles right now.
I wonder if a quarterback can play in his civilian clothes. Talking about Everett. He's sitting on the bench.
Well, they have him standing on the far sideline, and I'm sure John Robinson has turned to Everett by now and said, get ready, because they are now in a dilemma. Bartkowski does not look good. It's going to be 3rd and 22. There he is. I tell you, Bartkowski had such a great attitude about Everett joining him. He says, I'm going to help him all he can. He says, right now, this is my team. He may have lost that mantle now. Dills will come out of there throwing to Tony Hunter. Takes a big shot. Dropped 10 yards short of the first down at the 30-yard line.
You know what the Philadelphia Eagles are doing very well today? They're basically doing a great job of tackling. That was a terrific illustration of it. Bernard Wilson that time, straight ahead, got in front of the receiver and made the tackle on Tony Hunter.
We have a man shaken up for the Eagles. That is Waters, Andre Waters, who has an interception of this game and slow getting up. He was around the point of impact on that tackle on Tony Hunter. Well, Hank, we talked about this before, not to belabor the point. You wonder if every team should carry 3 quarterbacks. Now it looks like the Rams are down to 1 plus a safety.
I said last week, and I'll say it again, and I'll say it every week, I really think that the league should demand that every team in the National Football League have 3 quarterbacks on their roster. I think it's a must, especially with the high-speed collision and all the problems that are happening in physical problems in professional football. I think it's ridiculous not to have 3 quarterbacks.
We're going to see how Waters got hurt on this last play.
Upper left, watch Waters come into the picture, number 20. Oh, it looks like he gets hit by his own guy, Ken Clark. Ken Clark hit him. And I thought they were fraternity brothers.
Well, Bartkowski out of the game. He was 5 of 14 for 43 yards. It's been all Philadelphia. They lead it 20-0. 1:01 left in the first half. Hatcher to punt the football. Cooper back deep now for the Eagles. Cooper from the 35. And he'll get to the 42-yard line. Coming up at halftime, we'll be going to New York to join Brent Erb and Will McDonough with all the scores and highlights. Ann Butler with a story on William Andrews, a remarkable comeback by the Atlanta Falcon. And an update on our poll, the instant replay poll. If you haven't phoned, be sure to do so. 35-yard punt that time by Hatcher. The Eagles will have it at the 41. I'll tell you what, Hank, if somebody saw the score out on the West Coast area, they'd say, hey, they got that reversed. That must be the Rams leading 20-0.
Well, there's a lot of people probably feel the same way. They think it's probably a misprint.
But it is not. It's been the Eagles all the way, looking for their first win of this year. Bartkowski with a knee injury. We've been told they'll check him at halftime. Jaworski comes out throwing again. His favorite receiver, Quick. And Quick will bring it across the 45. They're going without a huddle as they have it at the 48-yard line. 2nd down 3, maybe 4. You see the time left in the first half. Jaworski with time again. They're trying to get to field goal range. This is Kawatasi, the rookie, out of Washington State, and he has some collision as he stopped at the 28-yard line. He and Irvin look like a couple of demolition derby experts as they collided on the near side. And Junior Tatalatasi, a real find this year out of Washington State.
Look at Quick. Look at the great block he makes on Cromwell downfield. It provides Tatalatasi with an opportunity to get down the sideline. Look at the hit collision on the sideline.
And now at the 28-yard line, there he is, Tatalatasi. He got him started wrong last week. He fumbled the opening kickoff against Denver, but he was extremely impressive in the preseason. He was a backup to Reuben Mays, and they discovered him, Hank, when they were looking at films of Reuben Mays, the number 3 pick of the Saints.
Yeah, that happens a lot of the time. You really do. You go with the idea of seeing one person. We got Nolan Smith that way. I went to Tennessee State to watch 2 other people and came back with Nolan Smith.
Oh, Jackson, touchdown.
Johnny Johnson, they had one-on-one with Johnny Johnson. Kenny Jackson makes the catch.
Wow, 27-0. They didn't take very much time after that short punt to get this one in.
Say, Johnson's on a line of scrimmage, bump and run. It's tough for him. Look at the longer they run, the farther, and he makes a mistake to look back for the ball before he should have lost where the ball was, and of course Jackson makes the catch.
Well, that's double trouble when you've got Quick and Jackson on the other side, and Jaworski has looked so effective today. Ron Jaworski, the veteran, here's his reaction.
Look at Jaworski. He's allowed to make the Polish Hall of Fame after that shot.
I tell you what, that wasn't a very high five, was it?
No, it wasn't. This team is all fired up.
Well, Hank, it just shows you when you believe in yourself, you keep doing the things that you think are right. And Buddy Ryan kept saying, I'm making these moves. I'm doing what I'm doing for the future of this ball club. He was criticized for cutting some of the veterans. Obviously, they were pounded very severely by Denver last week after losing in overtime to Chicago. And the guy says, I'll kick him, I'll kiss him, I'll do whatever it takes to get this football team going, and right now he's got him going.
Well, specifically, you know, he's traded or got rid of 18 players who were either on the active or injured reserve list from last year.
And 8 of them were starters, Hank.
Yeah, and you don't think they did a lot of squeaking, but again, it takes a lot of courage to do what he believes is right, and that's what he's doing. Just like Johnny Robinson on the other side of the field does exactly what he thinks he ought to do with his talent. And that's why you like these people, because they have minds of their own and they don't just do things because other people do them. They do it because they themselves believe in it.
That was Gooman who brought the ball out to the 38-yard line. Well, John Robinson's going to have to retool at halftime, find out if he has Barkowski available to him. Trailing 27-0. What a game this guy's having. Jackson, how about his counterpart? Well, on the other side, Quick.
Well, Quick said yesterday, he said the great thing about Jackson catching some balls is going to take a lot of pressure on me. I'm not always going to be double teamed, and he's right.
Steve Dills steps up, throws to Tony Hunter, and the Eagles seem to be everywhere. In this case, it's Waters who was out there and hurt previously, coming right back into the game with a bruised thigh, and we've come to the end of this first half. That's the end of the first half with the score. Philadelphia 27, the Los Angeles Rams nothing.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Chrysler Plymouth. We're working together to be the best. STP, makers of STP oil treatment. We've got what it takes to perform. And by Hewlett Packard, the people who turn your business computing problem into a business computing solution.
27-0, Philadelphia leading Los Angeles. A real shocker at the halfway point. Hank Stram, coming into this game, it was the Eagles who were committing all the mistakes, but there's been 3 turnovers by the Rams, leading to 10 points.
Yeah, that's always a difference. You know, there's never any mystery to what happens, Gary, and I think as we talked at the beginning of the show, you know, the Eagles, they have a lot of very good people on this football team, and I think people in the league feel that their defensive line is the second best pass rushing team in the National Football League, the Bears being first. So it's no accident that they're capable of playing well, and that's what they're doing today. And the Rams are totally out of sync. They can't make anything happen. They haven't done that so far in the first half.
Well, that's true. Here's the scoring summary. McFadden with a 22-yard field goal at the 11:19 mark, and then Ron Jaworski moved the team 60 yards, and it culminated in a 15-yard touchdown pass to his tight end Spagnola.
Spagnola, 88, is crossing across the defensive pattern, comes back to look for the ball, makes the catch. The ball's right on the money, and he goes right between the two defensive backs. Watch him here. Goes in for the touchdown, and they get 6 on the play. But a great misdirection play by the Philadelphia Eagles.
Well, that made it 10-0, and then the real surprise, Byers rolling out, hitting quick, 55-yard touchdown pass. Then McFadden came back with a 41-yard field goal, and then at the end of the first half with 17 seconds, it was Jackson on the end of a 27-yard touchdown. CBS Sports coverage of NFL football will continue after this message and a word from your local station.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Subaru. Inexpensive and built to stay that way. IBM. And by RCA, technology that excites the senses.
Veteran Stadium, Philadelphia. Lansford will be kicking off for the Rams, who trailed 27-0. And Hank, as we look at this play by Keith Byers, I'm sure the Rams were not aware that Byers was left-handed, and this ends up on a 55-yard strike to Mike Quick.
Yeah, it's very obvious they had no idea that he could throw the ball left-handed because he was way behind the defensive back. Newsome is in hot pursuit, and there was a touchdown.
Lansford kicking off. And out they come. This is going to be Charles Crawford, the rookie out of Oklahoma State, bringing it out to the 22-yard line. 3 turnovers leading to 10 points in this first half. We've been told that Steve Bartkowski suffered a severely sprained knee. We're not sure whether that rules him out for the rest of the game or not. Ron Jaworski in the first half was just simply brilliant. He mixed it up so effectively. And, of course, his defense doing such a good job as well. It's been a complete domination in this first half. There's his stats, 12 of 20. In motion comes Kenny Jackson. Here's Byers, and Byers pounds off the right-hand side. And he is hit head-on that time by Mel Owens. But you can see Byers looks like he's running even harder than what we saw him on films last week.
Yeah, he's strong. You know, he's strong. He's got good leverage. And, again, it's pretty tough to knock a flat-footed runner off of his feet.
Going to bring up now his 2nd down and 8. Byers, in his junior year before he sustained that injury to his foot, was a runner-up to Doug Flutie that year in the Heisman Trophy battle. He was an heir apparent to win it the next year before the injury. Here is Byers on the receiving end of that pass, knocked out of bounds. Busick coming over to make the stop. Byers can catch a ball. He has huge hands, Hank. Shaking hands with him, you just engulfed by how big he is. It brings up 3rd and 2.
They look like a couple of shovels. You know, the other thing, I think, you know, very importantly for the Rams, they have to keep Son Wood playing their kind of game. 27 points behind. It'll be very difficult for them to get back in the game the way they've been playing. But for them to get back in the game, they've got to make something happen with their defense. They've got to reduce the size of the field for their offense, get in good field position, and they've got to do something with their specialty teams, or else they'll never get back in this game.
I think they're going to be sawing a lot of wood if they don't get something going fast. 27-0 Philadelphia. 3rd down, 2 yards to go. Jaworski wide open. That's Dave Little, the tight end, and he's a battering ball carrier across the 40 out to the 42. Jerry Gray had the collision. Here's the guy that lost his starting job to Spagnola.
Watch Jerry Gray make the contact here. Now this is misdirection. The backs go one way. Look at Little is wide open, and watch how low he gets. Look at this. By trying to tackle a rolling manhole cover. Look at the shot he gives Gray, number 25. Goes up the field, gets the ball away from pressure, and picks up another 7 or 8 yards on the effort.
Little, along with Spagnola, been sharing that tight end spot, but Spagnola had such a brilliant performance a week ago that they put him in the starting spot. Little trying to get it back with that 12-yard completion. Here's a delayed handoff to Byers, and Byers has got some running room, and he uses it across the 45 to the 47. Hank, it's so obvious to me the Eagles have just been getting such a lift from this game. They're playing with confidence right now.
Oh, they really are. And that time they ran a counter play with Reeves, the left guard 66, pulling on the play, and Tom Gillespie, both of whom got a good block out in front.
That 39 yards you see on the screen is the high for the year for the Eagles. Up to this point, it was 34 yards by Haddix, to show you how dismal the running game has been prior to today.
Well, it makes a difference when you're trying to play catch-up football or when you're ahead. When you're ahead, of course, you can do everything you want to do. When you're behind, you just got to pump the ball up and throw those hand grenades, and you get yourself in trouble.
Second down, 3. Jaworski, and no connection intended for Haddix. Wilcher defending on the play. Charles DeJournay coming up the middle, putting some pressure on him. DeJournay, we were talking to the defensive coaches. They think he's playing so much better because they didn't have him play so much in the preseason, the 34-year-old veteran. And so his legs are strong, and he's played very effectively. He'll come out of the game now on this 3rd down and 3 yards to go.
6 defensive backs, and Gary Jeter comes into the game.
Byers comes out of the action as we have Jackson along with Spagnuolo split this side, quick to the far side.
And Kevin Green, number 91, who's a designated rusher, very effective. He's also in the game.
He's the top of your screen, and Mitchell picks him up. Jackson, beautifully thrown ball. That is going to be a first down to the 25 of Los Angeles. Cromwell and Irvin trying to defend on this one.
Well, you talk about threading the needle and getting the ball exactly where it had to be. Jaworski throws it perfectly, and again the key, good pass protection. Look at this. Irvin and Cromwell, he throws it right between both of them. Look at this. Look at the concentration, and Jackson still makes the catch. Fantastic play, and a great throw by Jaworski, and a great catch by Kenny Jackson, number 81.
24-yard completion to the 25-yard line. Boy, that is really difficult to decide who you're going to double up, Quick or Jackson. They're both equally tough.
Look at the room on the right side now. Look at the room in front of Gray. There it is.
Jaworski looking to Quick over the middle and almost intercepted. Newsome almost came up with a deflection. Quick that time, the quick slant in, some contact made. But Jaworski's grinning. He's enjoying this afternoon thus far.
Well, he spotted it. See, it looked like he might have changed the play in a line of scrimmage to the right side. It was man for man. Delivers the ball right on the numbers. Surprised that it wasn't cut. Bounces up in the air. It was almost intercepted.
So it's 2nd down, 10 from the 25. Jackson to the near side, and to the top of the screen is Quick.
So now they got a whole double. Now they're backing off.
Jaworski has some pressure and a bullet. And Spagnuolo on the receiving end of it. Very close to the first down. And you think that wasn't a rope? Did he throw that one?
Well, the great thing about it is, see, that time they were concerned about the outside receivers. They double outside. So now you got to throw the ball to the tight end or the back, and they hit Spagnuolo and pick up another nice gain. Look at this. Look at Jeter getting caught on the inside. It looks like Gillespie that time did a good job of blocking. Wilshire's on the outside being blocked by Reeves, 66. They throw the ball perfectly inside to Spagnuolo. Cromwell makes the tackle.
And it's 3rd down and a yard to go. It's interesting to me, Hank, how every quarterback has a guy to look to. It seems like he loves to go to Spagnuolo, Ron Jaworski.
Well, they're in business together. They got a health club.
Here's Jaworski back, wide open. Tata Tulosa, he's in for the touchdown. Junior Tatalatasi. Everybody getting in on it now. A 16-yard touchdown pass.
Tatalatasi, number 37, swings out of the backfield right down the middle. Somebody blows the coverage. He looks like he ran right out of the bleachers. They try to recover, but too late. He goes into the end zone for the touchdown. Here we see it again. Good pass protection. Not a very good fake. Supposed to have been play action, but he goes over to his right a little bit and throws it right down the middle. He's wide open in the end zone for the touchdown.
We have a man shaken up on the play. We're going to pick that up for you in just a moment.
Watch Tatalatasi come out of the backfield here, number 37. There you see him. He breaks inside of Irvin. He tries to grab him, but he runs right by Irvin into the open area, makes a leaping catch, touchdown. Philadelphia Eagles.
And the Eagles have just picked up where they left off in the first half. The guy that's hurt is Busick, Steve Busick. And they are very thin at that linebacking spot because they don't want to play Eckern if they can get away with it. And Busick, who started in his stead today, is now being looked at the 25-yard line. So what a thrill for Tata Latasi, the 10th round draft pick, who comes up with the touchdown strike. Steve Busick, they have taken him off the field. They helped him off, put him on the bench in the far side. They acquired him this year from the Broncos for a number 7 and a number 11 draft pick. He goes out. The Eagles now to attempt the point after that touchdown pass from Jaworski to Tata Latasi. 33-0 in favor of Philadelphia. And McFadden makes it 34-0.
You know, Gary, it's one thing to get beat like they're getting beat, but the worst thing about it already, in conjunction with that same thought, is the fact that they're losing so many key people.
Bartkowski earlier. Well, Eric Dickerson, they wanted to slow him down, and they've done more than that. But there's some bigger days. A couple of years ago, he broke the single-season rushing record. Here it is. Dickerson breaking O.J.'s record. He ended up with 2,105 yards, the old record of 2007 by O.J. As Eric Dickerson being congratulated by John Robinson. So there's been some brighter days for the Rams and Dickerson. Today is one of those forget-me days as far as things are going right now.
And it's funny how these things happen. You know, we were going along at a great pace one year, and we went up to Buffalo, and before we could really button the chin straps and everything, we were down about 28-0. And it's hard to explain, but it happens to you. And that's exactly what's happening to the Rams here this afternoon. They're just having a terrible day. That's the only thing you can say about it. Everything is out of sync. They're not doing what they normally do very well. And the worst thing about it is they are not a team that plays catch-up football very well.
Look at that, Hank. Today they've surpassed their 3 previous efforts. Total point-wise, I would say the Eagles are going to be somebody to contend with from here on. This has really got to give them a lift. Here comes Ron Brown, and we have another penalty flag. Out across the 30 to the 35-yard line. Well, that last scoring drive culminating in the pass, 9 plays, 78 yards, taking 3 minutes, 32 seconds. Tata Latasi, his first score as a player in the NFL. Jaworski is 17 of 27, 213 yards and 3 touchdowns.
No penalty. We're picking up the flag. No penalty.
And, you know, the amazing thing about it is, talking to Jaworski said the one thing we have to do against the Rams, and most teams say this, you have to be very, very patient. Try to get a big play when you get a chance to, but you got to be patient, travel slowly. And they wind up with 2 big plays, which is very unusual against the Ram defense.
They're traveling very slowly today, Hank.
They really are.
From the 32, they pick up the flag. You saw Terry Hogue a moment ago. Looks like he may have sustained some type of an injury. Already Hopkins is out of the game. He was hurt earlier. Steve Dills is the quarterback. Slant in, and it's almost intercepted. Reichenbach, Mike Reichenbach, the middle linebacker, on the deflection off of Duckworth.
Dills throws it right on the number to Duckworth inside. There it is. It hits him in the hands. He gets hit right about the time he's putting the ball away. It pops up into the air and was almost intercepted there by Reichenbach. But those are the kind of things that happen to you when you're having a bad day.
Reichenbach trying to be the Mike Singletary for Buddy Ryan. He doesn't have the speed that Mike has, but he's really dedicated to the game. Watches a lot of film.
Well, he's got a great schoolhouse. He understands what's going on. Very smart.
Second down 10. Steve Dills going to go for a bunch of it this time. And is that in bounds or not? Nope, out of bounds. Michael Young, who's playing with an injured hip, is going to bring up 3rd down 10. Let's look at some of the Eagle pressure on this last play.
Dills back in the pocket. Watch the pressure inside. Ken Clark coming in the middle. And Gary Cobb is blitzing on the play. He gives him a shot as he releases the football, but it's out of bounds.
Gary Cobb, the veteran that they picked up from the Detroit Lions a year ago. The Rams have not converted any 3rd downs. This is their 8th attempt of the afternoon. Off to Dickerson. And right now, I think Los Angeles would like to get back on the plane, go back to the West Coast, and get ready for next week.
But here again, you know, the way they have to use Dickerson now, they have to use him as a receiver, and that's exactly what you'd like for him to have to do if you're playing the Rams, because that means he's not carrying a football. And of course, with a game like it is, you're not going to get back in the game giving him the football on run situations.
Hatcher to punt. Hits it very high. Fair catch is called for and made, and that is Waters, Mike Waters this time receiving the punt. At the 25, that's where the Eagles will have it. A 43-yard punt. It's been all Philadelphia. Well, our poll all day long was, should instant replay be used in the NFL? And we understand they've had 146,000 phone calls thus far. You can see the revised form is leading. All right, Coach, I know you've been waiting all day. What do you think?
Oh, I think it ought to be left like it was. I think football is a people's game. I think you ought to let the people play. The officials officiate, the coaches coach, and the people in the press box announce the game. It's just that simple.
Well, on the other hand, Hank, I'd like to see the revised form. I'd like to see them use some of the USFL stuff, the red flag, where they can question a call, and if they don't get the verdict in their favor, then they are charged with a timeout. Now, let's look at the results one more time. 30% yes, 44% the revised form, which I'm in favor of. Hank's in favor of the no, and he's in the minority, but you've been there before, Coach, many times.
I tell you, another thing, there's no such word as undisputable. They found that in the league office.
Put a little pressure on him, huh? Charging out of there is Byers. Byers carrying some people with him. Well, let's bring you up to date. We now have 10 minutes, 8 seconds left to go in the third quarter. Philadelphia with a shocker here in Veterans Stadium as they are leading this football game 34-0. They led 10-0 after the first quarter, 27-0 at halftime. The Eagles coming in here winless, playing a team who had won their first 3 encounters of the year, the Los Angeles Rams. I'm Gary Bender along with Hank Stram as Ron Jaworski and company have had a heyday. This is the kind of coming out party as far as Philadelphia is concerned. Jim Laughlin now has come in at linebacker. We've been told that Steve Busey suffered torn cartilage in his knee. Not only losing the game, they're losing some players. Here's Byers getting to the outside. Look out. He gets those shoulders turned up the field, and he has a first down inside the 50 to the 49. And that is a dangerous situation to let number 42 turn up the field at 233 pounds.
Ron Baker, Ken Reeves out in front doing a good job of blocking. But you talk about turning on the afterburners. He was flying. Woo. He really was flying on that last play.
You can see why, Hank, I was telling you yesterday, I thought he was as impressive as any college back I've ever watched. He has the total package. He has 63 yards now on 10 carries. We've been told, by the way, that the x-rays on Bartkowski's knee are negative. So it's been labeled as a severe sprain. First down now at the 49 of Los Angeles. Ray Garrity is now in the ball game. Give to Byers. This time nothing doing. That's DeJournay, the veteran of 34 years, back to make the stop, as Byers just never to get started that time. Hank, you know, when you're 0-3 and you've got a team who's 3-0 coming in, I guess no matter how much talking you do as a coach, it's hard to convince another club that, hey, you're not playing somebody that hasn't won a game.
Well, I think that's true. It is with a non-veteran team, but with a team like the Rams, you know, they have to believe it because it happened to them several times last year. They were going along at a good pace, lost to Atlanta, and then they lost to New Orleans, I think, last year, and they were shocked. But it's a very difficult thing to do, especially, as you mentioned, when you're 3-0, why you don't think you can make any mistakes and nothing but good things happen to you, and all of a sudden, a game like this, when you scratch your head trying to figure out what happened.
There's Jaworski, and he's hurt. Oh, he took a shot that time from Jim Laughlin. Laughlin playing in place of the injured Busick. It looked like Ron really got doubled up in a peculiar way as he tried to go down. Watch this one again.
Yeah, watch him. Well, he slid. Well, nothing wrong with that. He slid, and his leg might have folded underneath. Maybe that might have been the problem, but it wasn't a very unusual hit as far as the contact is concerned.
I just thought he was kind of bent in a peculiar way. It's going to bring up 3rd down 11, and Ron's up, I think. Yep, he's up walking. He's just dazed.
Yeah, I think the problem was, Gary, that he didn't slide and stay down low to the ground. He was up, sitting up when he got hit, and that was the problem. When you slide, you better be sliding flat.
Otho Davis, the trainer, walking him off the field, and he gets a very appreciative round of applause as Cunningham will come in. They won't run him in anyway. It's 3rd down and long, 3rd and 11.
Boy, you have to give Chicago a lot of credit for winning like they're winning. With all the controversy and all the injuries and all the things that are taking place there, they're still winning strong.
Coming back from a Monday night, a short week, playing that well. 3rd and 11. Cunningham, look at him. Little tap dance back there, but he goes down. Shows the quick feet he has. Sean Miller came storming in. The left side defensive tackle on this occasion.
Watch Cunningham. He's back there in a shotgun. Watch Jeter going to the outside. Gillespie trying to block him. Pushes him to the outside. Cunningham is looking for a place to escape. Jumps up into the air, but still gets hit on the way down. Talked to Cunningham yesterday. I said, you know, how do you feel about going in on 3rd down situations to make, you know, on one play deal and have to come up with a 1st down? He said, well, it's kind of tough. I have to keep warm on the sideline, but at least I know now when I'm going to go into the game. That makes it a lot easier.
Here's Sutton returning his punt by Telchik. They gave up on him too quickly, and he gets it out to the 25. But Telchik, whose job was on the line after a miserable punting performance a week ago, has been extremely effective today, averaging 48 yards prior to that one. That one was 50. Hank was mentioning earlier the veteran Los Angeles Ram team. You can see they're the oldest in terms of NFL experience, 5.8-year average. On the other hand, in a moment we'll document it, the Eagles very young, as straight ahead football this time. Let's look where the Eagles stack up. They're tied for 3rd with the Bucks. Average 26. The Packers, on the other hand, the youngest, and of course they've been struggling this year. But the thing about the Rams, they've got some age and a place you can handle it. That offensive line, those guys play a little longer.
Yeah, they do. And of course, you need so much experience up there, being able to work together and coordinate things together. But they're just having one of those bad days today. It's very obvious. Not talking about the offensive line, just talking about everybody.
2nd down 8. Dickerson trying to get something going. Squeezes out some yards to the 31-yard line. Alonzo Johnson, number 54, their 2nd-round draft pick from the University of Florida, over to make the stop.
You know, talking about personalities too, Gary, I think, you know, the Ram personality is a run personality. They like to run the ball 40 and throw it 25. But it's a proven fact from a statistical standpoint that if you run the ball 36 times, you win 90% of the time. The more you run, the more the percentage goes up. They haven't been able to do that today, and it doesn't look like they're going to do it at all. So that's a pretty interesting statistic.
They've gotten away from their personality for a lot of reasons. Here is Dickerson. Great second effort. Look out. He almost broke that one. Dickerson out to the 49-yard line. Cooper made the stop.
See, that's the great thing about a great back like Dickerson. It doesn't look like he's doing anything. You slow him down, you stop him, and all of a sudden he comes up with a big play just like this one, you see. So you always have to be on guard and always be in a position to get in front of him and make tackles. That time the guy was on the side. Reichenbach was on the side of him. Another side tackle. You can't tackle him unless you get in front of him to make the play. Say another side tackle by Young. You don't make that tackle. Finally they get him from the backside.
1st down run. This time straight ahead comes Barry Redden. We're going to take a break, go to New York. Here's Brent Musburger.
Well, Gary, Tommy Kramer is having a whale of an afternoon for the Minnesota Vikings. This is his 6th touchdown pass of the day to Mike Mularkey. The record is 7. The last to do that, Joe Kapp for these Vikings in 1969. Let's go back to Gary.
Wow, the Packers really struggling, aren't they? 42-7, and the Vikings, who had a tough time beating Green Bay in Minnesota.
Playing with 2 tight ends now, trying to solidify things a little bit. There's a counter play they like to run. This time they run it with Redden.
And Barry Redden, the other half, and he fumbled the ball. He left it at the 40, and the Eagles have it. That is Roynell Young, who came up with a fumble recovery.
Roynell, here's a counter play that they like to run. You see Pankey going through the hole. Redden gets through the hole in good shape, and as he hits the ground, the ball pops loose. You know, basically, the turf shouldn't be able to create a fumble.
Well, that's what I'm wondering. Did he lose it before he hit?
No, it looked like he hit it. As soon as he hit the turf, the ball popped out of there. That shouldn't be. The rule specifically states that the ground can't make it create a fumble.
I think Redden agrees with you. He's upset. By the way, we have a new quarterback. Matt Cavanaugh will come in. The prognosis on Jaworski is he was just dazed, and so they've taken him out. Let's look at it again, Hank.
Yeah, watch it. Now he's going inside. Roynell Young hits him. Watch. See, and the ball pops out as it hits the turf.
I think it definitely was not a fumble. What's that old rule? The ground can't cause the fumble.
That's right. There it is. See, as he hits the turf, the ball pops loose. That shouldn't be a fumble. Unless they changed the rules since last week.
Well, now, wait a minute. Maybe that's what our delay is right now. Are we having a look at the replay? We'll get a determination on that just as soon as possible. They are reviewing that last play, Hank.
Yeah.
Now, if
Well,
you
it's
were
gotta
the
be-
replay official, you would rule it the ball dead at that point.
Dead at that spot. That's right. No fumble. That's what I would rule it. I sure would.
Well, the way this thing works, the
If they make
replay
that correction, why I'd go the other way with my vote.
the replay official is Nick Skorich. The communicator is Joe Brown. He's the guy that alerts the officials on the field they're looking at it, and the observer is Jim Katcavage.
You display, it is not a fumble.
There you
the
go.
Rams get the ball at the 38-yard line.
Now you see why the minority are voting in not having the replay.
I told you earlier, I thought it was a good rule. No, really, Nick Skorich was up there. I had a nice visit with him before the game. He was one of the really outstanding coaches in the National Football League and does a great job in the officiating vein right now, and he did a good job of making that call.
Why is Robinson on the field, Hank? Look at him at the 40. Does he feel the ball was further up the field or it was fumbled, do you think?
Yeah, he thinks so, yeah, because it was fumbled down beyond farther, and I think that's where he thinks the ball ought to be placed. I don't know what the ground, that's right.
We had that one.
The ground cannot cause a fumble.
That's the reason I'm with you, Hank. You know all those rules. You'll keep me out of trouble, right? But anyway, I think Robinson felt it might have been further up the field.
I think
Anyway,
basically that's what he's squeaking about, yes.
he's squeaking pretty loud, too. From the 42, Los Angeles has it first down. Steve Dills and throws it behind Dickerson. Tough catch to try to make. That was Johnson over there defending again. We told you that Jaworski was dazed. There he is, and so as an end result, Cavanaugh coming in to replace him, but he'll be all right and ready to go next week against Atlanta. What a nice game for Jaworski after the way they have struggled. 213 yards passing and 3 touchdowns. Second down now, 10 yards to go from the 42. The Rams trying to avert the shutout, trailing 34-0 with 4:48 left in the third quarter.
They're using 2 tight ends to try to solidify things and get ahead on everybody, and they're doing a good job of moving the football much better, and they've gone back to their personality as what they can do best, but they're way behind and way late in the game, it looks like, to get back in this one.
Dickerson going out of bounds inside the 35-yard line. 48 yards for Eric, leading the NFL. Coming into this particular game, Walter Payton was second. It's 3rd down and 5 now for the Rams.
They got the double tight end, 1 back, 2 outside receivers. Creates a different problem for the Eagles.
Dickerson going nowhere. He draws the crowd, doesn't he? All kinds of help coming that time. We've been told that an update on Jaworski, he has suffered a slight concussion. There's Otho Davis again talking to him, the trainer. Very doubtful that he'll return, and why should he when you're leading 34-0?
That's right. No way in the world he's going to get back into the game.
There he is, Jaws. This guy had a very good year last year, coming back with severe injuries the year before. In '84, he broke his leg and tore some ankle ligaments. Came back to be the NFL Comeback Player of the Year. And, of course, everybody remembers the year he led Dick Vermeil's team to the Super Bowl.
Well, he's a great competitor, loves to play. He's got a lot of talent, throws the ball as one as anybody when he's got time enough to throw the ball.
Well, the Rams are going to go for it on 4th down and 5. Bills from the shotgun. And there's nobody there. There's a penalty flag, however. Terry Hogue and Young were over defending on the play, and that may go against the Eagles. There was no chance in the world for him to catch that football, but we may have had a collision. We also have another flag way over here on the line of scrimmage at the top of the screen. So we have 2 flags on the play.
Number 29 on the defense was holding. 5 yards, and that's a first down. Defense was also offside.
They were offside and holding. You can't do much more than that, can you, as a defense?
Watch fouls, number 29. Inside the number. There you see him turning. And he holds on to Young.
Young wasn't even the receiver. They were coming more to the side, but Fowles was the guy that they caught.
It didn't make any difference. The ball was up in the air. While it's up in the air, you can't grab somebody.
So the Rams with a couple of moves in their direction now. The fumble that was ruled not a fumble, and now the pass interference or holding call. And Dickerson, who's had to work for everything, gets to the 25-yard line.
Tell you one thing, you know, no mystery again. The Eagles have dominated the line of scrimmage all afternoon, and that's why they're winning the football game. They're really at this stage of the game, and throughout the game, they've done a better job of tackling and being in a position to make the tackle. They've been in front of the ball carrier an awful lot, and that's why they've done such a good job.
Don't you think what started all that was the pressure they put on early? They started coming after people, and it just seemed to pick up the whole defense.
Well, I think anytime you start with a fumble recovery just like they did and get good field position and get a score, it gives them the confidence they needed, and it makes a big difference.
Barry Redden carrying, Gary Cobb on the stop. Next Sunday on CBS, we'll have an NFL doubleheader. The Vikings, you see what they were doing today against Chicago. It's 9:30 Pacific, 12:30 Eastern time. Tommy Kramer with a big day. And Philadelphia, boy, I tell you, this will be a heck of a game. Philadelphia winning today, and Atlanta, they were unbeaten going into this afternoon. All beginning with the NFL today. 3rd down and 3 now for the Rams. Dickerson, there's just nothing there, but he bounces outside. Look at the effort by Dickerson. Andre Waters eventually up to make the stop. And then the second half of the doubleheader, Tampa Bay, who picked up a win on the road last week, will meet these Rams. 1 o'clock Pacific, 4 o'clock Eastern. So Tampa Bay, who had such a tough time winning on the road, got over that hurdle. And the rest of you will see that Denver game. There's Dick Corey, the quarterback coach, alongside John Robinson. Dick was the offensive coordinator for the Eagles here from 76 to 81. On a first down pitch to Dickerson. He's got a block, and he's going to go down at the 15-yard line.
You know, late and probably meaningless, Gary, at this stage of the game, but they still haven't run any kind of a reverse or misdirection play, and the way they're chasing, it would seem to be a very effective play. Not that it would make any real difference with the score the way it is, but it would at least slow down the pursuit.
Looking at those guys' faces, you can determine there's not anything they're calling has really worked all that well today. Greg Brown now is shaken up for Philadelphia. Jeff Fisher out on the field, a former Chicago Bear defensive back, now on Buddy Ryan's staff. There he is with hands on hip. We're going to have a break while they look at Greg Brown. 34-0 Philadelphia. Greg Brown walking off the field on his own power. That's good. Philadelphia a 34-0 lead. And college football next Saturday. John Cooper's Arizona State Sun Devils 1-2 and tied one against UCLA, rebounding after that Oklahoma setback. The West Coast and LA, you'll see that, and then the rest of it, you'll see Iowa against Michigan State and the remarkable Lorenzo White.
They got it.
Back to throw. Bills touchdown. Nice catch by Ron Brown.
Brown made a good inside move that time and broke to the outside on Roynell Young, and you don't do that on Young very often, but he did a good job of selling the inside move, broke to the outside, and Steve Dills threw the ball right on the numbers for the touchdown. Evan Cooper, number 21, was also involved in the play. He's coming off to try to help. There you see it. But he breaks to the outside. Cooper's trying to help on the outside, but he can't make the play. Touchdown for Ron Brown and the Los Angeles Rams.
His second touchdown catch of the year. Dills, of course, his first touchdown toss. Lansford point after. He hooked that one left. It's no good. Lansford missing.
You know, the first funny thing about that, Gary, last year we did the game against Philadelphia, and he missed 2 field goals, if I'm not mistaken, on September 15th. He has never missed a field goal on the road since that time. He's kicked 14 in a row. It's ironic that he would miss an extra point back in Philadelphia a year later. Isn't that amazing?
Nothing's a give me in this game, is it?
Nope. And I never said anything about it before the game. I was afraid that if he did miss it, he'd blame it on me.
Well, you talked to Telchik. You helped him. He's been putting well today, but you can see that it just veers off left. Last week, you might recall, in Indianapolis, they didn't get the ball down one time on a point after, and
yeah.
So they've got a new snapper. They brought in Mike McDonald to try to alleviate some problems there, but this time it was Lansford who missed.
I talked to Mike McDonald on the field before the game, and I asked him what he was doing. He said, well, you know, from the last time I got activated 2 years ago, I had enough money to buy my own business. And so I've been on my own, had my own business, and now I'm coming back, and it's a lot of fun, and maybe I'll get involved in another business for the money I make.
Well, he was a fireman the first time, wasn't he? He had been operating there when they brought him back the last time. Played for John Robinson at USC.
The only problem was he broke a couple of poles sliding down that brass pole.
He could. Cooper brings it out. Rod Carpenter to make the stop. And so now the Eagles with a 34-6 lead, and looks like we have another man shaken up. That is Cooper, who returned that kickoff. Cooper has been playing with a badly bruised elbow, and they'll look him over. We're getting a lot of people hurt in this game. And so the line of scrimmage when we pick up the play will be the 24-yard line. You know, we talked about Philadelphia going 0-3, and some of the press here was starting to get on Buddy Ryan. They said, Hank, the honeymoon may be over. We got to start doing some things. Be interesting to pick up the papers here in Philadelphia this week.
Well, you know, we talked about that yesterday, Gary, and I, you know, it takes some time to put in a new system with new players. And it takes a lot of courage to get rid of a lot of players who you don't think are going to help you on a projected basis. Buddy Young's been in this thing a long, long time, and the only thing he's worried about, he's not worried about the criticism and what people say. He's just worried about winning football games, and he's going to do what he thinks is best for his people. He talked also about all the adverse comments he makes about his players. He doesn't do that just to be making comments. He does it because he wants to motivate certain people, and they understand it now. They know it, and they appreciate it very much.
Keith Byers off the right-hand side out to the 27-yard line. This crowd is really enjoying themselves. Last week it was a very dismal home debut, losing to the Denver Broncos 33-7. This telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League and is intended for the private use of our audience. Any broadcast or the use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Philadelphia Eagles and the National Football League is prohibited. Veterans Stadium, Philadelphia. It's been a very, very fine day for the Philadelphia Eagles. Winless prior to today, leading 34-6 with 30 seconds left in the third quarter. I'm Gary Bender along with Hank Stram, and this is Keith Byers on a little cutback. And Byers advances the ball out to the 33-yard line. Just short of the first down. Leroy Irvin to make the stop, and we have another player shaken up. It is Irvin. Byers is such a load to try to tackle, and Irvin that time paid the price for it.
He's like trying to tackle one of those demolition balls. He's tough, low slung, good leverage. He's hard to tackle.
So you can see why Byers is considered to be a franchise player, a 10th player taken this year on the first round. Byers has had a remarkable recovery. They had an ark, a tank full of water this year. They'd lower him down in, and like a racehorse, let him work on his foot without putting any weight on it.
Look at the shots. Irvin comes in high and low, his head down, and I think he got a shot from one of his own players. He got caught in a revolving door. There you see him rolling over.
Those revolving doors will get you every time.
That's right. You got to move fast in those revolving doors before they close.
Mickey Sutton will come in and replace Irvin. Irvin worked in a filling station in the offseason, trying to learn the trade, and then eventually bought a gas station in the Los Angeles area. Did you ever pull in there and fill up and get the windshields washed?
No, I'll do that the next time I get there.
He might give you a discount. Knowing you wouldn't pay anyway.
That's right.
Third down, a yard to go. Eagles wedging it forward, and it appears as though they got it. That was Cavanaugh, straight ahead. And we have come to the end now of the third quarter with the score. The Philadelphia Eagles 34, the Los Angeles Rams 6. We now pause for a word from your local station.
This is CBS. CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Miller High Life. Miller, made the American way since 1855. and by Oldsmobile. Oldsmobile quality. Feel it at your nearest Olds dealer.
The Eagles have it first down now at their own 35-yard line, and they lead it 34-6. Cavanaugh, the quarterback, fired. Ducks in, ducks out. And Johnny Johnson runs into him. Well, the play that certainly took the Rams by surprise. It was 10-0 at this stage. And here is the Keith Byars to quick pass.
It's a recess play. Stops and throws the ball end over end. Quick is behind the defensive back. Newsome goes in for the touchdown. That really did move the game wide open.
17-0. That came at the 8-minute mark of the second quarter. There's the thrower. Where's the receiver? Is he still in there?
He's still in.
There he is, right there, Mike Quick. Here is Haddix. And Haddix looks like he might have a first down. Out to the 45. Newsome made the stop. Hank, when things are going well, everybody runs harder. The blind sustains their blocks a little bit longer. The body language out there right now for the Eagles is impressive.
Yeah, it really is. And of course, the big difference in body language is Byars. You know, watching him practice for 2 days, you know, he didn't put it in high gear very often. You wondered about his injury and recovery and all those kind of things. And he looks like a totally different back today.
Yeah, we were wondering if he was favoring that foot.
In fact, somebody on the staff indicated that he thought he was too. But he isn't favoring it today.
There's the first down. Cavanaugh again sneaking for it. Cavanaugh has good size. He's 6'2", 212 pounds. We have 14 minutes left to go in this game. It's been a long afternoon for the Rams, but the Eagles have righted themselves here this afternoon after losing their first three, on their way to a victory here over the Rams. I'm Gary Bender along with Hank Stram as Philadelphia started out in a hurry, taking a 10-0 lead after one quarter, led at the intermission 27-0, now lead 34-6. Here's the third quarterback the Eagles have used. They started with Jaworski, had a slight concussion. They've used Cunningham on third and long, and now Matt Cavanaugh. And here is Byars. Look at this spinning move. That plane with some confidence out to the 50-yard line. Boy, they're going to love him for many, many years as Byars spinning to the midfield stripe before he's eventually down there. Thing you like about Byars also, Hank, he's such a good citizen. Isn't he fun to visit with and very articulate? He said he got a little rough with his family while he was in this rehabilitation process, and he apologized to him publicly. He said, I'm sorry that I was not exactly on my best behavior. You know, it's tough to come back from injury.
I'd have been rough on the guys that dipped me in that tank, too, when I couldn't swim. I asked him yesterday if, what he's going to do for the summer. He said he didn't know why. I said, I wonder if you want to be a lifeguard.
Don't let me get him in trouble and have him come. Here this time he doesn't have a chance. Stormed under. That's Jeter, 77 over there. Everyone was there. Mel Owens, also Jim Laughlin. Be third down and 8 now for the Eagles.
You know, I asked Buddy Ryan yesterday about the squad and the overall attitude of the squad, and you know, I was amazed. And he kept smoking that pipe and kept talking about how good he felt about this team. They were young, and he knew they were going to win, and they're certainly playing like they've learned a lot and understand the system a lot better than they did when they first started, which is understandable.
If he had any doubters in his system, they probably have been taken out today. Here's Cunningham on his third and long, 3rd and 8. And he's got Jackson. Oh, that was close. Nolan Cromwell at the last instant knocked it away.
It looked like that was going to be a score that time. But Cromwell really made a great play from center field.
He is such a stabilizing factor back there.
Well, he's got great anticipation. So he saw the ball, he saw the quarterback, watched his eyes, and got a jump on the ball and knocked it down just in time.
And now coming in will be Telchik to punt. You know, when you're talking to Telchik, I was kidding you yesterday, Hank. I said, you were making him think about so many things punting, he'd probably shank every one of them, but he may hire you as a punting coach.
Now, we were just going over some things. You remembered our great kicker, Gerald Wilson. We talked about Gerald a lot, and we tried to incorporate some of the thoughts that we had with Gerald, and that's one thing you never want to do is talk to him too much and confuse him.
That's what I was afraid of, Coach. John Robinson's had a long afternoon, as has his team. And Hank, with 11:44 How do you attack the rest of your game when you're trailing like that?
Well, you have to be realistic and understand, you got to still continue to do the very best that you possibly can do. But now you got to be, Steve, even though this game is going on, you got to be thinking a little bit what you're going to do with this squad next week. And that's vitally important. And sometimes this has happened to some of our teams. And one time, I just got them all together and got the film and threw them in a garbage can instead of fire it to them and said, we forget about it, let's go next week.
That might be exactly what John will do.
The only thing about it was I almost felt like jumping in that garbage can with the film.
I'm glad you spared yourself, Hank. 34-6. Philadelphia, as we have 11:40 left to go in this game, second down 10. Well, I'll guarantee you one thing. They'll have the attention of this football team next week. John will not have to rant and rave very much. If he throws those films away, that's all that need be said or done. David Hill in there at tight end, number 81. But it happens to the good ones, and they'll try to rebound against Tampa Bay next week. Here's Dickerson. Eric has just been a hunted man, and he's going to get to the 30, and that's all. Greg Brown making the stop. Well, it all began way back at the 11-19 mark when McFadden hit a field goal after an interception, and then Jaws to Spagnola and made it 10-0 after the first quarter. Then the outstanding Keith Byers to Mike Quick, 55-yarder, made it 17-0. McFadden came back to hit yet another field goal. And then Jackson on the receiving end of a 27-yard pass made it 27-0, 34-0. And then finally, the Rams on the board on a touchdown pass from Dills to Ron Brown. They missed the point after. Here's Dills with those happy feet, as Hank likes to talk about, dancing around back there. Good pressure. Now here comes a penalty flag coming in late in the game.
Reggie White and Darby, Byron Darby, number 94, Reggie White, 92.
Reggie White, you can't say enough about him, Hank. He's one of the premier players.
Holding number 50.
Well, the great thing about it, he's a great talent, too. He's a terrific mimic, does a great job with Muhammad Ali.
Well, he's got Elvis also. I understand he does him very well.
Yeah, he does. He's got a lot of ability, and he's on the soapbox a lot. Goes around the country talking. And as big as he is, when he talks, they listen.
They sure do. And Buddy Ryan said if you were going to build a defensive lineman, this is it right here. He's got it all. Speed, runs a 4.69 40 for a guy that weighs 285 pounds. Here's Charles White, who had such a brilliant game against the same team last year. He had 144 yards against the Eagles. Greg Brown on the stop. Hank, I want to remind you, after the game, I want you to be with us. Join us here on CBS Sports for coverage of the America's Polo Championship. The best of Argentina versus the best of North America. That's championship polo coming up later today on CBS Sports. I worked on a polo farm one time when I was going to college.
That's what's happened to you, huh?
You need any tips on that sport? Let me know, huh? My career didn't end there. It was close.
My legs are too short to get up on that horse.
It's long ways to fall, right?
Long way to fall, right.
Here's Dills giving a White again, and he runs. Check that. That's Rod Carpenter, who had no place to go. All kinds of reaction that time of the Eagles. They have been tough. They were so miserable against the run coming into this game, and today the Rams have had nothing easy. It's 3rd down and 8. Well, they'll throw all those statistics out the window. Couldn't stop the run and couldn't establish the run. The Eagles will put that in the wastebasket and burn it.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, the greatest thing in the world is a team must have the capacity to be able to forget. And evidently, Buddy Ryan did a great job of selling this team on the fact they had to forget, which they have done and played very, very well. They forget about those 3 games. That's what you got to forget. It's ancient history. Nothing you can do about it. The only thing you can do anything about it is what you're doing this week. And that's what he's done a great job of selling this team on. And they'll be much, much better for it as they go along.
That's Terry Hogue, who almost came up with the interception. It's ancient history when you're winning like you are today. Well, they like Terry Hogue. They picked him up from the Saints on waivers. He was a 3rd-round draft pick for New Orleans. And Buddy Ryan asked him about Hogue. He said, I love him.
Yeah, he should. He's big and he's strong. He's got good 4.6 speed. He's a terrific prospect, plus the fact that he's just a young player.
Here's the catch by Waters. He did not call for the fair catch, and Waters will bring it out to the 23-yard line. So we now have 9:14 left to go in this game. Philadelphia in command. Mike Quick has had a very effective game, and Hank, we were talking to him. He said, when you find yourself open or you think a play is going to work, do you come back into the huddle and tell your quarterback about it?
Yes, he said he did, but I asked him, do you do it in the huddle or do you do it, on the side? I always wanted our players, when they wanted to say something to Lenny Dawson, make sure you get him on the side and tell him individually. Say, for example, Otis Taylor would say to Lenny, listen, I think I can beat him on a slant or a post flag or whatever it might be, but tell him individually. Don't tell him in the huddle, because if you tell him in a huddle, then everybody else thinks they got a chance to make a call too. Plus the fact that if you tell him and it doesn't work, then you lose some credibility. So make sure that you tell him individually. Same with a lineman. Lineman is, hey, I can run a trap or whatever it might be. Tell him individually, and it works a lot better. It's a lot more effective, I thought.
And those plays work quite often, I assume, when you give them suggestions like that.
Oh, sure. They like to be a part of the presentation in the huddle to make sure they can make a contribution on things they can do.
Cavanaugh to Jackson. Boy, he took a hit. Did he hang on? It was Johnny Johnson who went up in midair. They're going to rule it incomplete. Well, it's a dangerous position to be in. From the backside, he took a real pop.
Yeah, that's why it's very, very important when you throw a ball to a receiver on the outside, you throw it at the numbers. Don't make him leap for the ball, because as he's leaping for the ball and up in the air, that's when he gets the shot, and that's when he gets hurt. There was a great illustration of it right there.
Third down, still 11, and now Cunningham, the long yardage guy, will come in. Third and long. Both Quick and Jackson are split to the near side. There he is, Randall Cunningham. He started this game last year against the Rams.
The other thing about Cunningham, he's a fine punter.
That's right, he's a backup punter.
He's a good athlete.
Chase is on. Sean Miller giving chase, and he throws this one a long ways intended for Johnson. And coming up is Nolan Cromwell with the interception. And by the way, he needed only 6 yards in interception yardage career-wise to be the all-time Ram. He won't get any yardage on that, but he does get the interception.
But he plays center field as well as anybody in the business at this stage of his career. He watches the quarterback, reads it, and as soon as the ball, he follows the quarterback. Cunningham is going to his right where the ball is in the air. I said it earlier in the show, but I'll say it again. Normally, an outstanding defensive back will cover at least 20 yards when the ball is in the air. He did at that time.
First interception of the year, his 31st in his career. So Cromwell, that play ended up being a 50-yarder all the way down to the 27-yard line.
I was heartsick. I was at New Orleans when he was drafted, and we were just getting ready to draft him, and the Rams took him just ahead of us.
What an outstanding athlete, a quarterback in college, a decathlete as well. Here is Dills, wide open. Tony Hunter, and Hunter will come down with a first-round grab at the 48-yard line. Next week, mark this down, it all starts with the NFL today at 9:30 Pacific, 12:30 Eastern. Those of you on the West Coast will see the Vikings and Bears in Pennsylvania. Eagles taking on the Falcons. And then in game 2, you'll see either the Buccaneers against the Rams or Dallas at Denver. You don't think they have perked up some interest here in Philadelphia after today? Dills now is 4 of 10 for 42 yards after that completion to Tony Hunter.
The Rams, they definitely miss Henry Ellard. They miss him dramatically, not only as a receiver, but also as a return guy. And I understand they're talking about contract, and Ellard does not want to return kicks. And that's really been the problem, and that's why he hasn't signed. So if it continues to be that kind of a problem, you can kind of look for the possibility of his being traded and Hunter maybe going to the outside position and playing a flanker.
Well, Hank, their special teams have not been all that special as they miss Ellard in that kickoff return category.
Well, certainly, and I think from a contribution standpoint, why he makes such a great contribution in the specialty team area, that should be one of the strong considerations as the Rams look at it, and he should feel the same way, but evidently he doesn't.
Charles White with a very impressive run that time, advanced it to the 33. White carried the ball 36 times against the Eagles last year. That was a record until Dickerson broke it this year. Here he comes, a Heisman Trophy winner, inside the 30 to the 27-yard line. Take the yard line marker with him. So White had a performance last year that was outstanding because Dickerson had just been a holdout and was late coming in, and so White started against the Eagles last year.
Gooman and Hunter really made good blocks on the last play. They provided White with an opportunity to make some yardage.
A lot of people thought Cincinnati might be a stumbling block for the Bears, but no case today.
I was
right?
one of those people. I really thought they'd play him a lot better than they played him this afternoon.
So from the 28, they had that short week to get ready as well, and that can rear its ugly head and get you. In motion comes Hunter. Dills to Duckworth. Duckworth makes a nice move to the 15-10. He's going to score. Bobby Duckworth out of Arkansas. Got a big block from Tom Newberry, the rookie. And Dills has thrown his second touchdown pass of the day.
Here's a quick pattern, faking a play action, throwing quickly on a quick screen to the outside. Doug Smith out in front. He makes the catch. The defensive back, Albert Fowles, falls down on the play. And Duckworth makes a good inside move very decisively and goes into the end zone for the touchdown, and they get 6 points in the play.
Well, Steve Dills, in relief of Bartkowski, has done a very commendable job. As you know, he has had a career where he played with the Minnesota Vikings, and in '83 started 12 games for him. Lansford, point after attempt, he's got this one. So after missing one a moment ago, he's got this one right through the middle.
Watch the fake, a four fake to the outside, throwing quickly to Duckworth on the outside. Breaks to the outside instead of going inside. Fowles falls down on the play. Bernard Wilson overruns the play, and he goes all the way for the touchdown, and they get 6 points. Well, we can look, excuse me, Gary, we can look for an onside kick here.
With 7:13. Tommy Kramer had a big day today, Hank. He had 6 touchdown passes, and he and the surprising Vikings will take aim on that NFC Central Division lead. As Kramer throwing here to Anthony Carter, the exciting wide receiver for the Minnesota Vikings. They'll be facing this guy, Walter Payton of the Bears, who we mentioned a while ago were putting Cincinnati away. Walter Payton, the all-time leading rusher in the NFL, and Jim McMahon will be back. It's the Vikings and the Bears here on CBS Sports next Sunday. Well, they didn't get it, Hank. No. They didn't go for it.
Thought they might.
This is Tatalatasi, who will advance it out across the 25-yard line.
I think they figured that since everybody was up there close, and maybe that discouraged their thinking about maybe trying to kick an onside kick.
Well, that last scoring drive after Cromwell picked off the pass, 4 plays, 73 yards. Dills with his second touchdown strike. One earlier to Ron Brown, and now one to Bobby Duckworth. Duckworth was shut out last week, didn't catch a pass. They want to get him more involved in the offense, and they did on that play. Line of scrimmage, the 27. Kavanaugh, the quarterback. We have 7:05 left in this game. Tatalatasi out of there. They really like him, this rookie. They say he has rubber bands for legs. Next Saturday, Arizona State against UCLA, 11:30 Pacific time. Last year, Arizona State went into the Rose Bowl and really had a long afternoon. They'd like to change that this time around. And then in some of the other areas, not the Pacific area, you'll see Iowa, Michigan State, and Heisman Trophy candidate Lorenzo White. Lorenzo White, as we mentioned, just had a brilliant performance yesterday, picking up 192 yards and 3 touchdowns. Hank, have you seen him play?
I saw him on a couple of occasions, and really, he's a great-looking back. He looked very impressive.
He's one of those guys who loves to get a lot of work. We're going to go for an update now to New York. Let's check in with Brent Musburger.
Well, Gary, the New York Giants have taken their first lead on the New Orleans Saints. Phil Simms did it, hitting Zeke Moat, and the extra point is good. The Giants now 20 and the Saints 17. Back to Gary.
Okay, the Giants, and they'll be meeting the Cardinals in St. Louis next week. 3rd down 5 now for the Eagles. 5:52 left in this game. Washington, Seattle, a battle between unbeatens. San Francisco, that's a shocker, isn't it? 31-9.
No, it really isn't. I think they're having so much trouble with their defense, Gary. I think that that really isn't much of a surprise. Maybe it is because of Kemp playing quarterback, but a lot of people don't realize what a fine young quarterback he really is.
Well, let's check on our instant replay poll. As you know, we had a 900 number, and you could register yes, you're in favor of the instant replay, or in the revised form, or no. And well, there's still 26% no, Hank. Stayed about the same revised form. So the trend seemingly has been set, huh? So what does that mean then? That the NFL Monday will come out with a revised form of the instant replay?
Hard to tell. Hard to tell.
I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, boy, would I like to have all those 50-cent pieces that they spent making that phone call. I can read you like a book, Stram. You.
Well, I'm glad you can read something. You don't read books very well.
Tonight on CBS, we have 60 Minutes and the season's premiere of Murder, She Wrote, and also Under the Influence. 3rd down 5 now as we come back. Cavanaugh from the shotgun. On target. That is Quick again. Quick has a first down out to the 47-yard line. Tim Fox made the stop along with Vince Newsom. So everybody's getting into the act today. That's a 15-yard strike. And a lot of people felt that Cavanaugh, Hank, was maybe the best backup quarterback in the NFL. He was behind Montana for so long in San Francisco.
Well, talking to him yesterday, he brought up that point. He said, well, I asked to be traded, wanted to be traded because I thought I could have an opportunity to be a #1 quarterback someplace. I couldn't be that behind Montana. And then he leaves, and of course, poor Joe gets hurt. So you never know how things work out.
Buddy Ryan said something. He said, we've just got a guy to go to. You need that. If something happens, as in this case to Jaworski. Here's Tom Patasi, put on too many moves that time and goes down.
Looks like he had peanut butter on his shoes that time, the way he slid.
Cavanaugh's 1 for 2 for 16.
Watch here again. Look, he tries to change directions. Watch him slide now. Watch him slide here. Look, and the reason he does that, he's on his heels instead of the balls of his feet.
Quite a story, though. They found him when they went to look for Reuben Mays. And as you mentioned, you found Nolan Smith that way. And I imagine there's a lot of stories. I know it happens in recruiting in college. You find a guy in high school and you're looking for someone else.
Well, we did the same thing with Curly Culp. Curly Culp was drafted as an offensive guard. And we made the trade for him because we always thought he'd be a great defensive lineman. And we made the trade with Denver, and he wound up being an all-league, all-pro defensive lineman.
Somebody knew what they were doing. That's Waters, Mike Waters, carrying straight ahead. Waters was a starter earlier in the year in place of Haddix. And then one of the coaches said he looked good in the preseason, but then when they got to the regular season, things were just a little quicker. Everything was happening a little faster out there.
Well, I think the other thing that happens, too, you try so desperately to make a team, and then once you know you made the team, you have a little letdown, and you don't perform as enthusiastically as you did before you made the team, and learning in a hurry that you better play the same well, or else you'll be doing something else for a living.
And here comes the 3rd and long quarterback again, Cunningham. 3rd and 8. And here he goes, down. That's Sean Miller, number 98. Mike Wilcher, 54. The pressure coming. Last week, Los Angeles had 7 sacks against Indianapolis. A lot of those coming late in the game. And this time Cunningham goes down. Line of scrimmage will be the 40, and it's 4th down. They were 2nd in the NFL in sacks coming into this game. Number 1 against the run, but some of those stats will diminish as we look at them next week because the Eagles today have put some offense together. There's Telchik, good average. I think his job has been secured for another week, don't you?
The key thing as far as the punter is concerned, how he drops the ball. He's been dropping it very, very well on his foot, and that's why he's doing such a good job of kicking today.
There's Sutton, and he returns the ball short of the 25-yard line. Well, Jim Everett watched Bartkowski go down with a severe knee sprain. He's had Dills now vacate him on the sideline and come into play. They had Cromwell as an emergency guy. They've got Dieter Brock on injured reserve. Hugh Millen, a rookie out of Washington who they like a lot, who got injured. I guess Doug Flutie, they're shopping him around, but this might accelerate Everett. He wanted to bring him along and be sure he was ready. He has a 2-game exemption.
I think, talking to him yesterday, he said that he's fortunate really to be involved with the Houston Oilers for a while because the passing system there was very much like the passing system here. So as a result, it's not that difficult for him to learn.
That pass was batted down. It looked like Reggie White got a hand on it. Well, the thing about Everett that John Robbins is coming back to is how smart he is. You think that's a given for all quarterbacks, but this guy is adapting very quickly. Has great maturity out of Albuquerque, New Mexico. And he came out of a passing attack. They threw the ball, and that certainly has to enhance his position. Dills is now 5 of 12 for 70 yards. Lots of time. And he takes it and uses it very effectively. The completion to Michael Young out of UCLA. And that's going to be enough for the first down, or is it? We're at Veterans Stadium as we have 2 minutes and 49 seconds left to go. The Philadelphia Eagles losing their first 3 games of the year. Came in here underdogs to the Rams, but as you can see, it's been Philadelphia 34-13. The Eagles able to convert 2 turnovers in the first half into 10 points, continuing on to build their lead eventually to 34-0 before the Rams have been able to score twice since that time. Next Saturday, the CBS doubleheader will be coming your way. It all starts with the NFL today at 9:30 Pacific, 12:30 Eastern time. And for those of you out in the West Coast area, you'll see in Game 1, Minnesota at Chicago, Red Hot Tommy Kramer, Jim McMahon of the Bears. While those of you in Pennsylvania will see the Eagles, that surprising win today, taking on Atlanta, who was unbeaten going into today. And then in Game 2, you'll see either the Buccaneers take on the Rams or Dallas at Denver. Well, Buddy Ryan, I'm sure that he'll say he's pleased with this win, but I'm just convinced that in the back of his mind coming in here, he thought he had a real crack at it. I don't think a lot of people did, especially the media here locally, but he sure did. Bill's back. On target. And that catch is made by Chuck Scott, and that's his first catch as an NFL player. Second round draft pick a year ago out of Vanderbilt, and in their hurry up offense, line of scrimmage to the 47-yard line. It's tough sometimes, Hank, to keep picking up the paper and people criticizing you here and there, everybody on his case on his radio show, but he hung in there tough, and he's being vindicated today.
It's not tough if you have a philosophy and you're mentally tough, Gary. You know that's all part of the business. You know that everybody is trying to pierce your armor all the time, and you got to do what you believe. You know, a lot of people say, you know, we're football coaches. We're not football coaches. We're men who coach football. So football is what you do, is not what you are. And you better be strong enough to have a philosophy and believe in it and not have to worry about rabbit ears and worrying about trying to please people. You do what you think is best for you and your football team and how you're going to win. That's the only question to ask. How you going to win, and that's what you do.
You didn't get criticized any time coaching, did you?
My wife criticized me.
First down at the 35. Dill sets up the screen to White. And White will pick up 3, 4, 5 yards. Saw that game. The Redskins remain unbeaten, defeating Seattle. That was the one team that the Eagles kept talking about as maybe being the club right now, the Washington Redskins.
Yeah, they're very talented. They really are. And of course, Jay Schrader has done a remarkable job. You know, it's amazing that you could lose a guy like Joe Theismann and John Riggins, and nobody talks about him at all on that team. They just keep going on and on and on, and they have people who replaced him. Rodgers doing a good job at the running back position, and Schrader has been exceptional. And plus, in fact, they have a fine young quarterback in Doug Williams.
3rd and 3. This is White. He dropped it. White a little disgusted at himself. They didn't throw that much to him at USC. The only throws they had were those quick pitches. So that'll stop it with now 2 minutes, 11 seconds left in this game.
You know, I had a nice visit with Wade Phillips, who was the defensive coordinator for the Eagles. And he was very optimistic about the development and growth of this football team. He talked about the squad just like everybody else said. You know, we just made so many mistakes, but we think that we've got a lot more talent than people think we have, and we think we're going to eventually become a very good football team.
There's a pass intended for White again, and he takes a pretty good shot that time from Jody Schultz, number 95. That'll bring up 4th down. Schultz had an interception last week for the Eagles.
There you see him throw the ball. Watch the hit by Jody Schultz. Gives him a little push.
That might be even a big push. Or a medium-sized one, maybe?
Well, it's a big push because he's about 6'5", so it definitely is a big push.
Rams now going for it on 4th down, 3 yards to go as we approach the 2-minute warning. Scott goes split out along with Young to the top, Duckworth to the bottom of the screen. Steve Dills from the shotgun. You know, this game will look a lot closer on paper the way it's going right now if they would score here. Here is Dills hitting Gooman. Did he get the first down? I think he may have. Some good footwork that time by Mike Gooman, who just got across the forward part of the stick. Let's look at it again.
Shotgun again. Dills throwing outside to Gooman, number 44. Makes the reception. Tries to get up the field and does, and just makes enough yardage for the first down.
It's kind of impressive the way he did that.
Yeah, I knew exactly where he had to go to make the first down. And at this stage of the game, you got to admire him for trying like he is.
He's a very versatile back, possibly their most versatile back. He can do a lot of things well for this Ram team. First down from the 25. Dills with lots of time, and he's able to complete the pass to Chuck Scott again. Scott with 2 catches. This one moving it to the 17. The 2-minute warning is here. 34-13 Philadelphia. Well, as you look at the NFC East, Hank, you're already giving the Redskins that 4-0 advantage, but with this win, Philadelphia climbs right back into the picture.
And they're capable. You know, people, you know, a lot of people yesterday were talking about this thing, thought I was kind of foolish talking about what a good chance they had to win the game today and what a good team they have, but they have a lot of outstanding talent. You know, you look at their team, they got great outside receivers, they got a terrific tight end, they got an excellent quarterback, 2 big, strong running backs, an excellent defensive line, good secondary, so they're capable of beating anybody. And I think once they get a few wins under their belt, they could be very impressive.
On the other hand, in the West now, with the Rams losing here, Atlanta playing later today really tightens things up. San Francisco was winning. Last year, the Rams jumped out and won their first 7 games. Not going to happen this time around. We come back now. It's 3rd down and 2 yards to go for Steve Dills and the Rams. 1:51 left in the game.
Really, when you talk about teams and games and that kind of thing, the important thing is they're still in the race. That's the important thing. You got to be in the race. And right now, they're very much in the race. They're tied for first place right now. Depending on what Atlanta does, Atlanta now, of course, going into their game is ahead of the pack. But you never know what's going to happen with them. But again, the important thing is they're in the race.
That was Gooman on the end of that receiving pass. 1st and goal now at the 5. You know, they were referring to the fact that when Joe Gibbs took over the Washington Redskins, he lost his first 5 games, made some adjustments, and you know what's happened since that time. They were comparing that to Buddy's 0-3 start.
Well, I think if you really honestly look at the record of a lot of young coaches who come into the league as assistants and then become head coaches, that happens a lot of the time. It takes a little time to develop a program, and you'll find that most coaches the first year had losing records.
That's Michael Young with the touchdown grab. Young, who was slowed a lot this week with a hip injury, has played very well today.
Steve Dills gets back into the pocket, rifles it good and low on a slant pattern. And again, if you're going to throw that kind of a pattern, you want to make sure it's below the numbers or at the numbers, because if it isn't complete, it's going to fall right down to the ground. If you throw it high, it's usually intercepted. That's a good place to throw that ball, a slant pass into the end zone.
Young, that's his first touchdown grab of his NFL career. He had 14 catches a year ago, but none of them going for touchdowns. And so they whittle away at it a little bit, but it's not enough, coming too late as it's 34-20.
One thing that if it can anything be positive for the Rams in this kind of a game is the fact that they're getting a lot of good work done in their passing offense. They haven't thrown the ball that much in games so far, and at least they got a good workout in that department, and maybe will give them some confidence as far as the passing game is concerned.
Well, let me tell you right now, Dills may have to start next week, and he has gained some confidence as he has thrown 3 touchdown passes. So Steve may have to go if Bartkowski not able to answer the bell after suffering a severely sprained knee. Next week on the NFL, again, a reminder of a doubleheader out on the West, 9:30 Pacific, 12:30 Eastern, Minnesota, Chicago. Chicago very impressive today against Cincinnati, and Minnesota likewise against Green Bay. Well, those in Pennsylvania will see the Eagles take on the Falcons, and they may take on an unbeaten team. We'll know later as that game's coming up later. The Falcons playing at 4 Eastern time. And then in game 2, you'll see either the Buccaneers take on the Rams or Dallas at Denver. The Buccaneers got new life, and Denver, of course, unbeaten after defeating the Philadelphia Eagles last week. Getting ready now for an onside kick attempt. They'll surely try it this time, Hank.
Yeah, I would think so.
1:40 left in the game, 34-20. And here it comes. And a good catch is made by Mike Quick, and boy, they worked hard on that yesterday in the bubble. They were underneath the bubble due to the rain yesterday, and that's exactly how they practiced it.
It's funny how old coaches remember old things. You know, we were standing on the sideline yesterday watching them practice the onside kick, and Buddy Ryan was in the middle of the field inside in that little dome they have, and he came running over to me and he said, you know, I just thought about something. Remember that game in 1969 where you were playing Denver He tried an onside kicked it to Bobby Bell. He caught it on one hop, and while their team was going one way, he was going the other way. Looked like Keystone Cops, and he went all the way for the touchdown. But I was amazed that he would remember that way back from 1969. Isn't that funny?
You coaches remember all those plays. You're
Yeah,
like a
that's
golfer.
right.
You remember every shot you hit.
I was amazed. Of course, he was at that time he was with the Jets, and so I asked him, "How in the world did you see the game?" He said, "No, I saw it in the films, and I never forgot it."
Well, Buddy Ryan's first win as a head coach, 18 years an assistant to the NFL, ending his 3-game losing streak in an impressive fashion. Cavanaugh gives to Tatalatasi, and Tatalatasi is going backwards.
You know, the funny thing about that kick, talking about Bobby Bell again, Gary, I used to tell our squad, listen, don't try to be a hero. The ball on the ground, just fall on it. Be satisfied to fall on the ball, and we'll get it in the end zone. Don't try to pick it up and kick it and lose possession of the ball. And so Bobby caught that one on the first bounce, went for a touchdown, came running right back to me on the sideline. He was all smiles. He said, "Coach, will that count? That I picked it up and ran for a touchdown?" You know, I said, "Well, it was good for distance, but you know, it was." But it's funny how things work out.
Line of scrimmage of 44 as we come down now to the last minute of this game. It's been a surprise. Score really not indicative of how the Eagles have dominated. Here is Waters across the 45 to the 47-yard line.
And really the key to this game, really, the Rams never got into their personality at all. From the very beginning of the game, they got in trouble, they were out of sync, and never got back in business at all. Never.
Well, that personality of stability just deserted them as they made the turnovers early and gave up those 10 points to usher the Eagles to some heights they'd never been this year. That was taking the lead and being able to move the football. But he's 52 years old, and I imagine those people down on his farm in Lawrenceburg, Kentucky, are very excited for him as he picks up his first win. He's got the 17 thoroughbreds down there and some cattle, and boy, he loves it. He and his wife.
He'll be able to enjoy that game tonight, and then immediately has to start worrying about winning another one next week.
The next week won't be easy. It's going to be 3rd and 8 now for the Eagles. Well, the fans here have enjoyed it. Last week it was another story. There were some interesting placards that were indicating that maybe Buddy wasn't going to get it done, but I bet those people aren't doing that today.
Well, I see the owner and everybody's down hugging Buddy on the sideline. I wonder if they did the same thing last week or the last 3 weeks.
You know better than that. There was a fumble by Tatalatasi, and it looks like the Rams, well, let's see who's got it. They're still trying to sort this one out. Mike Waters looks like he came up with it, saved it for the Eagles.
Yeah, that's who it is.
Norman Brayman, yeah, the owner. Boy, Hank, you guys work so hard as coaches, and I imagine there were times like last week you're saying, when is it going to happen? We're playing the second toughest schedule in the NFL, second only to the Los Angeles Raiders. Nobody had lost a game that they had played, including the team they were playing today. But that all goes to the wayside now. Again, next Saturday, Arizona State, UCLA, 11:30 Pacific. Pennsylvania, you'll see Iowa take on Michigan State and Lorenzo White. That's 2:30 Eastern time. Iowa has reloaded. Some people thought when they lost Chuck Long and all those guys that Hayden Fry's team might be down. Forget that. He is tough again. And Arizona State has an excellent defensive team. UCLA, Terry Donahue's team had a long break after that Oklahoma loss, and his teams always get better as the year wears on.
Yeah, he's done a great job. He's one of the top college coaches, I think, in the history of the business.
There's a kick to Sutton. He takes it after the bounce, and Sutton will go down at the 15. The Eagles are still flying around out there, Hank. Mike Waters is down there. And so we've come to the last 28 seconds of this game. The Buddy Ryan era, I guess, has officially been ushered in with his first win. He has a 5-year contract. As he put it, I have a 5-year plan to reach the Super Bowl. Maybe this is the first building block.
Yeah, and the great thing about it is, you know, he knows what he wants. He knows who he wants, and he made decisive moves right off the bat with people who he didn't think was going to figure in his plans, and the sooner you're able to do that, the better off your team's going to be.
Coming up, scores and highlights, and the poll on the instant replay. Yay, change or no? And there's a pass to Guma, knocked out of bounds. He was tagged pretty good on that play. Bernard Wilson is the guy that was over there. The line of scrimmage will be the 20-yard line, 2nd down. Well, Hank, I got to hand it to you. You kind of smelled this one. You sensed that this game could be a surprise, and it's obviously been a surprise to the majority of people. I'll give you credit.
Thank you.
Here's Dills, and Guman can't hang on to that one.
It's funny, though, you know what a feeling you have being around teams as often as we are. You get kind of a feeling watching them practice, talking to them, and kind of trying to gauge their attitude, the coaches and the players and that kind of thing. And again, as I mentioned earlier, I was really impressed with the fact that they had lost 3 games and that they felt so positive about what they were doing, how they were going to do it, and where they were going.
I think it's interesting. They always say you play like you practice. Have you ever had a team practice well and not play well?
Oh, yeah, sure. Like that's, you know, when I was a young assistant coach, I used to try to keep a record of what the attitude of the team was on Wednesday and Thursday before we played a college game. And I thought maybe I had some kind of a line on it. And once you start to get a pattern of some kind, all of a sudden the whole thing goes right up in smoke because something crazy happened. One year we were playing Illinois going to play them when we were undefeated in the Big Ten, going for a Big Ten conference championship. And we practiced on Thursday before the game on Wednesday before the game on Saturday. We had the worst practice session of all the practices we had all year long. We were very disappointed and disgruntled, and we thought we were going to play a bad game. We went up to Illinois and won the game 42-10. Scored on the very first play of the game. So, you know, it's really hard to determine the attitude of the squad and what they're going to be like on Sunday or Saturday.
They had their 3 best weeks of practice this year. The Eagles did. They had 2 caucuses, one by the offense, one by the defense, and it ends up being a victory, and Scott is really decked. Chuck Scott, who had made a couple of fine catches earlier, is down as the time has expired here, and they'll have to see if Chuck's going to be all right. He really took a shot as Buddy Ryan has won his first game after 18 years as an NFL assistant, coaching on 3 Super Bowl teams, the Jets, the Vikings, and the Bears. Now has won his first. I would be very surprised if he doesn't come away with the game ball. On the other hand, John Robinson, a long afternoon made even longer by the fact now that he has to wait and see what the status is on his wide receiver, Chuck Scott. Final score here, 34-20. The Eagles win their first one, handing the Rams their first setback of this year.